Hello guys and welcome back to the Football Social live on Football Daily and Soccer AM social pages, and today it's the first North London derby of the season, David. Looking at me there with a great amount of anticipation in your eyes. Might as well kick off with you. How are you feeling? You were very confident last week and now looking less so, nursing that ball, mate.
I've been very confident the whole week, but obviously as game day approaches, you start to get a bit nervous. The palms are a bit sweaty, but I am actually feeling confident.
How has this fixture changed throughout the years? Because you used to smack these boys about pretty regularly.
It is mental, like, because this used to be guaranteed 6 points, but now it's not been. But to be fair, like last season we got four points, one at the Emirates, drew at Wembley when we probably should have won. Aubameyang missed that last-minute penalty. But yeah, there has definitely been a bit of a shift in power, I have to say. But yeah. So
remains ambivalent about the result. Jamie, thank you very much for joining us, Jamie O'Hara.
Pleasure.
You made your debut, full-team debut in the North London derby, so a bit of a baptism of fire.
Yeah.
There's some new guys out there for Arsenal today, some old heads out there for Spurs. How do you see this one going, mate? And what's it like, this game, this atmosphere? Give us a taste.
This game is unbelievable. The lead up to it, everything. When you see this fixture list, you can't wait for it. It's the biggest game of the season. It's a tough one at the Emirates, always has been. They always seem to struggle there a little bit. But I fancy us today, I really do. Once I see Vertonghen starting, Eriksen starting, I think we've got a much better opportunity. But they look good, Arsenal. You know, I've slaughtered them a few times in the past, but actually with the transfers that they've brought in, the players that they've brought in, they look good. And it's going to be a real test for us today. Yeah,
of course, Tanguy and Ndombele out, one of those signings, Lo Celso on the bench, but we'll get to team news in a minute because, and this deserves a round of applause as well, it's Patrick Van Star's first show.
Yeah, baby! Thanks very much.
He's back, you're welcome, mate. And I feel like you're probably more realistic on Arsenal's chances than Dave.
Yeah, I mean, like, I make a point of it not to be too smug before a North London derby, because something terrible always happens, right? Like, even in the Wenger days, like, yeah, we did used to beat them, but we weren't immune to, you know, the odd embarrassing loss.
Result,
so I'm just staying calm before the game.
OK, I've got some questions for you about the starting lineup in a minute, but last but not least, it's William Bradley. And Dave Jackson's dad is in the gallery today, so you do have someone to talk to Birmingham about after the stream, all right?
Okay.
Don't want to hear any championship chat. No, of course, I'm kidding. Talking of chat, how do people get in contact with your fine self?
Get involved with the show at Soccer AM, at Football Daily, with a brand new hashtag, baby. It's at TFS. Get involved and we'll get the best questions to the panel.
Very close to that Welsh team, TNS. But, you know, we're going to roll with it.
Maybe we should sponsor them. A little thought. Sponsor them.
Maybe not. Maybe a conversation for another time, Will. Let's check out the results from yesterday. Plenty to talk about there. They're going to come on screen now, I imagine. Yes, here we go. Pick off the bunch, Southampton and Manchester United, of course. 10-man Saints sporting the party there. Vestergaard getting an equaliser. Sheffield United picking up an unlikely point. We say unlikely, they've been impressive at the start of the season, haven't they? 2-2 at Stamford Bridge. And Leicester, not just edging out Bournemouth, Jamie Vardy putting in a very impressive performance there. And look like outside, you know, the outside bet to finish in the top 6. Top 4, Jamie. I'll definitely get you to elaborate on that in a second. However, there was another game today and it was action-packed. And it was Everton versus Wolverhampton. We have some final scenes at the final whistle here. Marco Silva looking, you know, rather pleased with himself, and so he should, because these are two teams we touted as kind of trying to break, you know, the hegemony of the top 6. Not at the best start to the season, Wolves. This kind of gets Everton up and running. New boy Iwobi getting his goal today. Richarlison grabbing the winner. Let's have a look at the bottom of the table to see how yesterday's games affected 11th down. Talking of 11th, Tottenham sitting there. That does not look pretty, does it? Watford remain rooted to the table. That's now 3 draws and a loss for Wolves, and despite a kind of spirited display against City, Brighton getting a absolutely decimated yesterday by Manchester City. Let's have a look at the top of. Business as usual in 1 and 2, but Leicester sneaking into third there. And if you believe Jamie O'Hara, they might remain there for the rest of the season. Crystal Palace getting that victory, the controversial victory over Aston Villa with that last-minute goal being disallowed. We're really enjoying that. Let's go straight back to your point then about Leicester potentially, breaking into the Champions League places. Are you that bullish on their chances? Because I was sort of not scoffed at, but said top 6 for Leicester. Yeah. Almost uneasily. But top 4, that's quite a tall order.
The reason being is because it's Brendan Rodgers. He's been there, he's done it. He knows how to get results. They're playing a dynamic. The way they're playing is free flowing. They're passing it around. I've been really impressed with that Sionchu, who stepped in for Maguire. He looks really good. And I just think they've got a real good side. You forget the fact that they've still got players in that team that won the Premier League. Vardy is still a massive threat for them up front. And I think now with the way that they're going to be playing, I genuinely believe if they keep getting results like that, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree. David,
yes,
Arsenal, third best team in the league, he says.
I do. I believe we are, because we do have the third best starting 11 in the Premier League. I do firmly believe that.
And do you think Leicester are as close behind as fourth?
No, I think I actually watched a programme last night where I watched Leicester. They look very, very good. I just feel...
programme last night? Did you watch the game?
No, I didn't watch the game, but I don't know if we're allowed to say what show it was. Right. So I thought Leicester were very good. As you say, particularly Vardy, he looked sharp. He looked almost like the Vardy that won the Premier League. But the fear with them is if Vardy gets injured, their backup strikers, maybe 10, 15, 20 goals, that's going to get them into the top 4. But I think they'll be right up there in terms of top 6.
That is true. They're going to need a big season from Jamie Vardy to kind of, get into the top 4. Patrick, that means that Tottenham, Chelsea, United have to miss out. Do you see that happening at all?
No. Leicester, I don't think they'll finish in the top 4, but they're extremely dangerous. I think they'll take points off most of the top 6 this season. I think they're the best side outside the kind of traditional big teams. What I liked about yesterday was that Rodgers has been quite conservative at the start of the season, playing Ndidi and Chowdhury together, like 2 aggressive ball-winning defensive midfielders. And yesterday he dropped Chowdhury and relied on Maddison, Tielemans and Ndidi as a 3. A little bit lucky that Tielemans didn't get sent off, because probably should have been sent off early in the second half. But Jamie Vardy's first goal is absolutely unbelievable. Goal, I think Leicester are great because Leicester are both good and fun, and they compete with the top sides while playing good football. They're not going to Burnley it, and no disrespect to Burnley, but I would prefer to see teams beat big sides the way Leicester want to do it.
Yeah, I think they probably learnt from that first 45 minutes against Chelsea, where they maybe gave them a little bit too much respect, sat it a little bit deeper than was necessary. Then in the second half at the Bridge, really took the initiative to them. William, I want your thoughts on the top 4 as well. Where do you think Leicester are finishing?
Well, I've actually had it documented on text and video that I said Leicester would finish the top 4 and you called me an idiot. So
that does sound like something I would say.
Yeah. So I've put my cards out there already. I think they'll be up there. But I don't know. I think they'll struggle with just the depth of that squad going forward. 2
very brazen shouts in the studio then. Would of course love Leicester to finish 4th. What were you saying in the comments then? Any standout questions at the start of the show, Will?
But there's a few standout remarks, Chris, already. Dave's big shout that Arsenal have got the 3rd best starting 11 in the Premier League. Drew a distasteful look from Jamie O'Hara, and the distasteful comments have been rolling in. 3rd best with that defence. Have a day off, Dave.
Yeah, just wait till Bellerin comes back in, wait till Kieran Tierney's up and running, and probably Rob Holding and Socrates in the middle. Then we've got but at the moment we've still got a few players to come back.
A bit of a nostalgia question here. Which Arsenal player, Jamie, would you take in the Tottenham team?
I'd have to say Aubameyang. For me, yeah. I mean, we need a striker to play with Harry Kane. If we're going to play a diamond today, it looks like potentially playing a diamond. I think if we could get another striker up there with
an elite striker,
then I think we'd be a real force. And I think that's where we've let ourselves down over the last few seasons, just not signing a striker. I know it's hard for people because they don't want to play second fiddle to Harry Kane, but actually, if you watch how we play, we play a diamond quite a lot with 2 up front. So, there are chances for him to get another striker in.
Yeah, Dele Alli prospered kind of as a second striker, didn't he, last season before, but he's, of course, a fitness concern for today. I think Let's talk about Arsenal's lineup before we move on to Tottenham then, because we do have that on screen now. And, I mean, the only surprise there, I guess, is the lack of Ceballos, Dani Ceballos, the man who's drawn comparisons with Santi Cazorla. What do you make of that, Patrick?
I would definitely have started Ceballos. I would probably have gone for a 3-4-3, actually, just because of Nacho Monreal going off to Real Sociedad this week. Kolasinac hasn't played a lot, and he's generally better as a wing-back. So I would have probably gone for a bit of a change of shape. But this is kind of packing the midfield with really defensive work, I suppose. Like Xhaka's not a good defender, but he will defend. I expect to see Ceballos in the second half. Maybe it's just the fact as well that starting that front three means that the bench could potentially be kind of weak. So it's nice to have Ceballos on there, so you have got somebody fresh in the second half if you need them. Because otherwise, it's Reece Nelson, Joe Willock, good players, but teenagers.
Sort of impact the game in the same way that Aaron Ramsey did when he came on last season. You've got a really useful, flexible player on the bench, can only mean good things for Arsenal. Quizzical look from you there, William. Before we move on to the Tottenham lineup, did you have something to say, mate? Or
no, I just normally look like that. No,
just generally perplexed. Go on.
No, I thought because when Emre did the substitutions last week, I think we were all saying in the studio they were quite bizarre, but then it led to Torreira scoring, and you take that first 30 minutes and the last 10 minutes, I thought it was very solid performance.
Yeah, there was
to take positives from.
Signs of improvement for sure. Yeah, let's go to the Spurs formation then. So this is how we think they're going to line up, yet to be confirmed.
Yeah.
But Alderweireld, Sanchez and Vertonghen making up that back three. And the forward three is pretty much business as usual. But the big talking point, Jamie, Eriksen in midfield returns after talk last week of, will this be his final appearance for Spurs? And he looks pretty important in the complexion of that midfield four.
Yeah, I mean, he's huge for us. He has to start. And, I've gone on about it all week. Vertonghen and Eriksen need to be in the team. Whether what's going on behind the scenes is obviously something that people are not happy about. But he's a player that you need to have in your side. And, he makes things happen. He gets on the ball. It's going to be... I'm actually really interested to see if they do start like that 3-4-3, because I think if they play 3-4-3 and you've got that back four of Arsenal's, I think you could really hurt them early doors. With Lamela, Kane up there, I think we've got a really good chance. I wasn't confident going into this, I'm not going to lie, but now I've seen the teams and Eriksen's in there, he's a big, big player for us. Huge player.
Well, it could be a bloodbath, couldn't it? I'm sure Arsenal's forward line are looking at Sissoko, right wing back as well, and thinking we can get at him here.
Well, if you look at their back four, I mean, come on, it's not the back four of Arsenal have used to have. It's calamity at the back, really. Isn't it? You're going to get chances.
Yeah.
David Luiz will give you a chance. Maitland-Niles has not been great. He looks all right.
Yeah, certainly
He'll
going
give you
forward.
a chance. Going forward, but defensively.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they've played a defensive-minded midfield, because I don't think they're confident with that back four behind them.
Yeah, just to make up their shortcomings. I mean, talking of calamity, how calamitous would it be if Eriksen left before the European transfer window slammed shut tomorrow?
I think that would be a major, major loss for us. Yeah, that can't happen because we look not great without him. And the problem they've got is obviously there's something going on. We don't know the contracts and all that was going on behind the scenes. He's probably our best player, so you can't expect to... we've just played in the Champions League final and we've started the season, Vertonghen's not playing, Eriksen's not playing, and I'm looking at it thinking, Trippier's gone, Danny Rose is at Watford training ground, and I'm looking at it thinking, well, hold on, we've just been in a Champions League final, we should be really kicking on now and signing proper top players. And then there's talk of losing Eriksen, so I've been a little bit...
miffed.
A bit miffed, but hopefully if we keep Eriksen, Vertonghen's back in it, now our season can start.
Because when you talk about Pochettino and these key players, he's almost built up a kind of cultish reputation there, and that players will, run through walls for him. But then you hear of this kind of disharmony at the start of the season, and it is a little bit puzzling. Trippier saying there was things going on behind the scenes when he left. Do you think that's more to do with contracts, like you said, or the manager wanting to kind of change personnel or bring fresh faces in?
I don't think it's to do with Pochettino. I don't.
Really?
I think it's to do with you know, Daniel Levy and the contract and how they do business. They're very structured in terms of the contracts that they give out, Tottenham. You know, they won't pay the big money and they won't put you on the big contracts. You have to earn it there. And the problem is, you know, as you're seeing, is that with Eriksen and Trippier and that they're top players. So big clubs will come in and will give you the 200 grand a week, you know, but Tottenham are not going to do that. So I don't think it's Poch. I think he's getting frustrated with it, and I think that's why we'll still get results and we'll still look good because they'll fight for him.
OK.
But hopefully they'll sort it out.
Nice. I mean, Patrick, you've seen both lineups now. What kind of individual battles interest you most in these two starting 11s?
Well, I mean, Spurs' right side and Arsenal's left side, you've got Aubameyang's going to be looking at the space between Alderweireld and Moussa Sissoko and being very interested in it. And while Vertonghen's a great defender, but Vertonghen hasn't played. So Pepe coming into that slot will be quite interested. I don't know. I think that this is actually quite similar to the Spurs of last season. Like, they went out this summer and really added to their midfield, right? Lascelles, Southampton, Ndombele, really good signings. But without either of them in this game, without Dele Alli as well, it's actually quite similar to last year, where they were kind of completely ignoring the midfield and pretty much just going over the top. And I think with that front three and our back line, that's 100% what I expect them to do in this game as well, because Winks and Eriksen is not what you'd call a defensively sound midfield. Both those guys are great passers and they will defend a bit. Eriksen's a good presser. Winks is an OK defender. But fundamentally, that is a get the ball forward as quickly as possible setup and rely on our back three to just beat their guys one-on-one. So, I don't know. That's a big gamble on the back line there, and Arsenal have got to have a similar gamble, but on their front line.
Interesting.
I think they might play a diamond.
Really?
Spurs, I do. Looking at it...
With Alderweireld at right back? Or?
I think he's going to play Sanchez at right back.
OK.
And Vertonghen in the middle with Alderweireld, and then play Danny Rose on the left. Winks sitting with Sissoko. Who else is there?
Eriksen.
Yeah, Eriksen will play as the 10, and I think he'll play Lamela in there, and I think he'll play Son and Harry Kane up front.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued to see how they start this game, because to go to the Emirates, which is one of the toughest places you can go, especially in this game, and play a 3-4-3, you've got to be really confident with how you're setting up.
Yeah.
Because that's not an easy formation to play, I'm telling you.
Why is that?
It's because it's quite expansive. You know, the way you play it is, you know, you're playing with wing backs, they're bombing on, and when you've got players like Lacazette and Aubameyang and Pepe, they're going to hurt you down the sides. You know, if you're a tight three as like the centre pairing of Tottenham, the space is going to be down the sides, and they're going to expose that Arsenal for me, and that's what I'm worried about. I'll be, you know, so it's going to be really interesting to see if they do start like that, because you know, Wolves play it and they play it well, but they work on that formation every single day. Now, Poch isn't afraid to change his way and his style and the setups. He's not afraid to do it, but this is a big game to go and change a formation in.
Well, we are getting some live footage now from the Emirates, and the formations are going to probably present themselves a little bit more clearly over the next 2 minutes, so we'll keep you updated on that. Until then, Will, questions?
Yeah, lots of questions coming in, people getting their score predictions in, so maybe a perfect time for that, Chris.
Oh, well then, go on, you might as well kick us off, mate, on the left. We'll work our way around.
I'm going to go for 4-2 Spurs.
Wow. 4-2 Spurs. Action-packed fixture.
3-3.
Patrick, I imagine there's not going to be as many goals in your prediction.
I don't want to predict it.
Come on,
I just don't want to do it.
Doesn't want to
do it.
You don't want
to.
Is this you getting superstitious?
What do we get?
I don't like to predict the result. I just can't do it for an Arsenal game.
I'll get Pat to write it in an envelope and then reveal it
at the end. And then we'll present that at the end. OK, I mean, the Spurs formation is coming on screen now, so we'll give you clarification on that. It does look like a diamond, yes. So 4 at the back with Sanchez playing right back. Harry Winks the base of midfield. Sissoko, like you said, probably part of a very kind of narrow two-man midfield. Unai Emery heading out onto the pitch now.
He likes
your
that
score
diamond.
prediction?
I've said it all week. I'm going to be quite boring and say 2-1 Spurs. but I do genuinely think that, you know, we've got a good chance.
We'll take that. 3 goals doesn't sound boring to me, Mr. O'Hara. Jackson?
I'm going for 3-1 Arsenal. 3-1 Arsenal.
Punchy, that's going to do nothing for you in the comments after your remark about having the 3rd best team in the league. Right, let's have some odds on screen now. These are friends Sky Bet have got some price boosts lined up for you. Top one being Aubameyang to score a brace, was 7-1, now 15-2. Some of the standout ones for you there, William, because I know you're, privy to a little flutter.
When the fun stops, I stop as well, Chris. That's what you've got to remember.
The fun never stops on this show, though, Will.
But yeah, I think Pepe scored from outside the box. It was very dangerous last week, but I mean, if you can keep him off his left foot, I mean, that's half the battle.
Yeah. Trust you to pick that one. That is one of the most outlandish ones we've got on there. And of course, odds are accurate at the time of recording and subject to change. Go to the website to see more details. Got to be 18 plus to partake in the fun.
Lovely, that was.
A little clap there from Dave, just because of the T's and C's. Yeah, no, just
well
impressed by
done
the
for
price
doing
boost
your
in
job.
general. Thank you. Competent. Yeah, that's what we're striving for here. Competency. Looks like the game is about to kick off, gentlemen. So let's strap ourselves in. First North London derby of the season. Tottenham, of course, looking to bounce back from that awful loss to Newcastle. Promising signs against Liverpool, despite the result. But you also have noted on how many kind of shots you've conceded in other ties, particularly against Burnley, Pat.
Yeah, we've conceded a lot of shots in every game so far this season.
Yeah.
Like, I think we got outshot at Newcastle, against Burnley, and of course against Liverpool. I mean, there are positives from Liverpool. Pepe looked very good. That's pretty much the main thing. Pepe looked really good. And also, looking bad away at Anfield is what they do to you.
Yes.
Like, that is the way Klopp sides just, shut you down. But it's no surprise we look a bit defensively suspect, and I think that we'll probably have to wait for the returns of Bellerin and particularly Kieran Tierney to get things on track. So it might be that we have to wait until kind of mid-October before we see a truly coherent side. But on the other hand, the quality of chances we've allowed have not been.
Oh my God, what has just happened there, Patrick?
That's a brutalisation, is what's happened there. Hit that.
Oh my goodness.
Right on the edge of the area. Right on the edge of the area.
Sorry,
who was that got in?
Who was that back heel, Patrick?
This is Aubameyang, isn't it? Unbelievable.
I mean, Ozil was ill, so I'd be impressed if he did that, Dave.
Bit worried about nobody picking him up on the edge of the box.
You know what I'm worried about? Sanchez playing right back.
Yeah. I mean, aggressive.
Some of the Spurs fans in the office have said he's been a little bit suspect to the start of this campaign. Of course, we like him. He's a very good defender on his day. But
no,
is he short of confidence, or is it?
No, his positioning's not very good. He gets caught out of position. When I watch him, he's very good on the. He's good on the ball. He's strong. He's aggressive. But if you're playing a diamond, you're kind of leaving your right back and your left back exposed. Yeah. To deal with the danger.
Because there's only one midfielder at the base.
Yeah, because obviously you're as a tight four and a diamond in midfield. So I'm worried about Sanchez here.
Do you think him playing in a 3, like when he first broke onto the scene, do you think that masked some of his defensive inadequacies and we're now seeing him a little bit more in a 4?
Well, look, when you're playing a 3, you're protected a bit more. Do you know what I mean? And you can get yourself out of trouble playing in a 3 because, he's got pace and power. But I don't think I've seen him play as a right back, And this is my big concern that I've had with Tottenham, is that they got rid of Trippier, who I thought was still a brilliant player, and haven't got anyone to really replace him, Now we're playing a centre-half at right back, It's worrying times for me because I think if Aubameyang and Lacazette turn up, they're going to start exposing that side.
That's the thing. Obviously, we're playing at home. If you've just seen if you're ever Aubameyang and you're thinking, right, I'm going to be directly against this guy who's normally a centre-half, I think let's just go for it. Let's put, first 5 minutes trying to run past him like he's kind of just then. And then that player's always going to be on the back foot then. Yeah,
Pepe looks like he's going to be your sort of cutthroat player, doesn't he? The person to take the initiative to the other team. You're just hoping, Jamie, I guess, that Sissoko plugs some of those gaps on the right-hand side because he is an absolute
he's an animal,
isn't he? Yeah.
He's an animal. And you know what, it might be, but you can see straight away they're stepping into that space on that side.
On the right.
You know what I mean?
Guendouzi picking up the ball there. That's a bit ominous, isn't it?
Guendouzi's picking it up. They will, they will try and expose that side. It might be a masterstroke from Poch because he knows Aubameyang's going to play off that side. And he's thinking that Sanchez will be able to deal with him one-on-one.
Pace-wise.
In terms of pace-wise and being aggressive, he's quick.
Yeah.
So it might be a masterstroke. You know, the diamond formation can work. It really can. But,
It's one of my favourites on Football Manager, Jamie, that's for sure.
it's
Yeah, big time. Big
I'm
time.
a big 3-5-2. Now I think the diamond just gets exposed a lot. You know, and I trust me, it's one of the hardest formations to play. I used to play in a diamond. I used to play on the left side of the diamond, and I tell you what, we used to call it the graveyard shift because all you did was run. You're running everywhere. You're non-stop because you've got to get out to the fullback, you've got to get out to the winger, you've got to get back defensively, then you've got to get on the ball. Yeah, it's not an easy formation to play in if you're not.
Well, like you said, almost it's playing out kind of verbatim there, getting down that right-hand side, Arsenal finding space.
Just great defending from Danny Rose there.
Yeah, really good defending inside the 6-yard box. Talking of weak links, Patrick. Kolasinac.
Now, so it's corner ball.
I mean, that's better from Sanchez.
Clapping corners, no tension at all. It's fine.
That's better from Sanchez because we saw that run an awful lot last season, didn't we, from Kolasinac? Oh, was it Sissoko getting back there? Sissoko covering that run, and like you said, that's probably something he's going to have to do time and time again.
Sissoko is, honestly, he'll do 14k today. If they play like that, he will run himself into the ground. But you lose him going forward, which I think is good. I genuinely think he's good going forward, and you're going to lose his ability going forward.
Hit that. Oh, my goodness.
Oh my God.
Oh, the camera angle deceiving us a little bit there. I didn't quite catch who it was. Arsenal having a good chance on the edge of the box, but it's Maitland-Niles just hitting a sea of bodies. Talking of weak links, David Luiz at the start of the season, Pato, how's he been kind of defensively, barring the higher profile sort of mistakes?
Barring the Liverpool game, he's been pretty decent. Like, I mean, the thing about David Luiz is I actually think David Luiz has always been a quite underrated centre-back. I wrote about that at the tail end of last season before it was ever a possibility that he'd come to. Oh, that's going in the bottom
Tell you
corner.
what, that's going in.
That's a great
I don't think Reece has got that covered, has he? But he's going to add a lot of passing out the back as well, which is helpful. Like, and he's been really aggressive in this game so far. Like, don't get me wrong, he's not perfect, but I think he's better than our other centre backs.
Yeah, exactly.
Apart from maybe Rob Holding, but we don't. Jury's still out a little bit because Rob Holding's so young. So.
Yeah, the whole kind of narrative, the mistake narrative is overplayed with David Luiz. It's just the way it does happen. It is normally.
But doesn't it when you do it in high-profile games?
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to happen. But plus, you know, Emery does know his strengths and weaknesses. Emery managed him, like, at PSG very briefly. So, I mean, he's going to give us a lot. And I don't think, actually, versus our other defenders, he's taken anything away. Do I think Mustafi would have dealt with the situations last week better than him? No.
Definitely not.
You don't survive in a Conte system unless you've got some very strong kind of defensive capabilities, do you?
Yeah, he was in the middle of a back three. He's really good when you can protect him a bit, and I was kind of thinking maybe we'd think about the back three today, but if David Luiz has a great game, Arsenal will be really, really good. If he has a bad game, Arsenal will need to score a lot of goals.
Yeah.
So it could be fun for the neutral.
And I am a neutral, and I'm enjoying the opening stages
You're
of
not
this
a
game.
neutral. What are you talking about? You're a fake Arsenal fan
Kieran
now.
Tierney's not made his Arsenal debut yet, so when he does, I will be getting the shirt. Oh, hello.
he got
Tottenham
that
finding a little bit of space there between the Arsenal back four and midfield. Harry Kane going to ground, which has been a recurring theme at the start of this season.
Come on.
We'll move on from that, though. Will, any questions?
Yeah, well, I wanted to kick off from your tweet you put out before the game, Hamill, asking about who's had the worst start to the Premier League season. A few of the Football Daily fans got involved. A lot of shouts for Watford, obviously they're bottom by a landslide. Man United, obviously not having the best start to the season, but yeah, who's not got off to the run that they thought they would have?
That's an interesting question. So even outside the top six, because a couple of easy answers in there, Manchester United being one. Jamie, who surprised you this season? Who did you anticipate getting off to a better start? Yeah.
Tottenham, to be honest.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you know, like, we've had some games where we've got to look to be winning, and you know we're sitting 11th, I think, you know, and it's not been a great start. And I thought this season we would really kick on. We just got into a Champions League final, you know, was brilliant in terms of getting to that, and I thought that was going to be our stepping stone to really kick on. And you know, apart from the Ndombele signing, I've not been overly convinced with it all, and it's kind of obviously stuff going on behind the scenes. Yeah. The Newcastle performance was obviously really poor.
Well, really odd in the domestic form. you know, apart from that European run, the tail end of last season, the start of this
really
season has
bad.
been really patchy. Why can't, you know, Tottenham get it together? I mean, if you knew that, you'd probably be in charge, wouldn't you?
Listen, I'm going to be honest, right? I don't understand why we play this diamond formation. I love Poch, and he's obviously a great tactician, but I don't think it suits us. You know, the diamond formation for me is just hard to play in. If you ask the players, that midfield will say it is a hard formation to play in. It offers you no width. And
is he playing it out of necessity though at the moment?
Well, yeah, but this is... I could get it last season when he kind of needed to. But I don't see why he needs to do it now. We've got Song, we've got Lamela, Sissoko and Winks can play centre midfield. Eriksen can play as a 10.
Oh my God.
I just...
Well done, David.
I mean, you're very jumpy, aren't you?
Yeah, it's fine, mate.
No?
I reckon that was half a chance there. It's like I said.
He's supposed to twist it better.
He's got playing
So
space.
what's happened there, Dave? Break down that situation for me.
Ball's been won in midfield by Arsenal, a bit of a dodgy clearance from Spurs. I think Xhaka has played it into Lacazette, and he's kind of just scuffed his shot. It was poor. But, you know, at least we are getting the ball in the right areas. So.
I'm sure two people should be going up for the same header.
Oh, Son getting onto the ball here.
Oh, he's in.
Oh, hello.
No! Get in!
Oh,
Eriksen!
Fernando, who was outstanding last campaign, should he have done better with that parry? Jamie O'Hara take us through the goal. What has happened? When the replay comes on screen.
I'll tell you what, it's a fantastic goal. Lloris has he's lumped it. Kane's won the header. He's flicked on, dropped to Son in space. He's beat David Luiz. I don't know where he's going. And then Lamela's drove forward, hits it across, keeper saves it, parries it, drops to Eriksen 6 yards out, tapping.
What a run that is from Lamela, by the way.
Great run from Lamela, but I don't know where David Luiz is going. A touch, finish. I tell you what, the keeper's done all right. Eriksen following it in. It's a great goal. And that is why the diamond is such a good formation.
Actually, you're right. Leno's kind of done well to reach with that. That was a little bit further away from him than it first appeared. What's happened from an Arsenal perspective there, Patrice?
It's just two guys have gone up for the same header, and it's meant that when the ball's gone over them, there's nobody there to pick it up. But I mean, it's disappointing because it's actually been a really dominant start from Arsenal, and that's the first thing that Spurs have done. So yeah, I mean, it's a little bit demoralising, but again, it's just a bit of a defensive mix-up, which is kind of what Arsenal
normal
do.
for Arsenal.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch it back, you'll see David Luiz. I mean, two of them have gone for the same ball, which ain't good. But if you watch David Luiz's positioning, this is why Chelsea got rid of him. He gets sucked into the game, you know. And when you
is that not his role to step out? Is he not the more aggressive ball-winning centre back?
Yeah, but if you're going to step out, you have to win it. You know, you can't step out and not win it. Son's just breezed past him. Then all of a sudden, sorry,
Oh my God!
all of a sudden, you're all over the place. Then you can't get back. You've got runners off it. Tottenham are in again here, Lamela.
Hello, Tottenham sort of camped out on Arsenal's 12-yard line at the moment.
There's a slip from Torreira. We need to relax a little bit.
I mean, this
screams goals.
It very much does well. And the people in the comments agree with us because we could be in for one hell of a game, William.
Well, you can imagine most people are not the happiest with David Luiz. Obviously, he doesn't get the best treatment, but when he's making mistakes like that, there's a lot of people questioning the signing to shore up the defence, that's for sure.
I mean, for £8 million, it was an absolute steal towards the end of the window, and like Pato said,
Is it a steal, though?
It still improved Arsenal defensively. Does that say more about David Luiz or the state of Arsenal?
He's made 3 mistakes already, though.
But
He's
also put Arsenal in here. Was that Quentin?
Too much time. There were 3 guys there unmarked. Spurs' defending does actually look pretty bad at the minute. Like, when you look at the guys in the box here who don't have anyone covering them, it's a bit worrying.
What has he done there?
I mean, this taps into what you were saying earlier. We're seeing an element of directness from Spurs, but we're also seeing in the last couple of minutes some more intricate build-up play. And
I don't know.
Does this happen without Christian Eriksen?
Have we seen any build-up play from Spurs yet?
Progressing the ball to the 12-yard line there before Torreira won it back, that was pretty nice.
No, that was but that was because somebody slipped at the right-back zone. I think they are playing quite directly. But the weird thing is that Spurs' success has always been built on a really strong defence under Pochettino, and the defence has been quite poor so far this season.
Come on, Arsenal.
So, hopefully, they've got to hope that Vertonghen coming back in really shores that up, because the strength of Spurs has always been how difficult they are to score against. Because their defensive personnel were incredible. So hopefully Vertonghen will do that for them.
What's he done there?
The one thing you've got when... I know, I dig out the diamond formation.
I feel like this is going to be a recurring battle, you versus the diamond formation.
No, but I'm going to give you the positives of it. When you win it, you have men over, and if you play direct, which Tottenham are doing, and to be fair to Poch, he's brilliant at it. If you look, you have runners off the ball. That's why Eriksen can get up the pitch, Lamela can get up the pitch, and that's why Eriksen's got a tap in, because you're in the game all the time, because it's really central. If it goes out wide, that ball to a winger, you get time to get back in, defend the cross. But when you play on a diamond and you actually do win it in midfield and you break the lines...
Easier to overload,
It's easy to overload, and you can. And that's why it looks like Tottenham might sit in and play counter-attacking football. Once they get through Arsenal, when they play direct, they'll be in big trouble.
That was poor there from Spurs.
Having watched that back, I actually think that the bigger error in that Spurs goal is definitely Sokratis.
Yeah.
Sokratis goes... Xhaka is up for the header. Xhaka's a big guy. Like, Sokratis goes up and tries to go over him.
In the other half.
The Spurs player nods it on, and then where Sokratis should be, he isn't, which is why David Luiz has to come over. He's always going to get beaten for pace by Son. Don't get me wrong, it's not good from David Luiz, but Sokratis started that with a bad decision.
But some blame there to be attributed to others as well as David Luiz is often the fall guy, isn't it? Oh, Christian Eriksen there with a rasping effort.
This is like basketball to me, isn't it?
I know, yeah.
This is far too easy to get up there for Spurs.
This is absolutely breathless in the opening 15 minutes. And by the way, Christian Eriksen, the first Danish player to reach 50 goals, I think it was.
50 goals?
50 goals. 50 goals in the Premier League.
Yeah. He's a world-class player.
Just a little tad bit of information there from the gallery, just in case you want any Danish-related stats. We'll keep that stuff coming all day, all right? All right, Arsenal down the right with Maitland-Niles, and you think when Hector Bellerin's fit and Kieran Tierney's fit, they'll slot straight back in, or is it going to be a process of bedding them in, Pat? Or they'll be rushed back because of these defensive frailties sort of thing? Do you need them like now, or...?
It depends what the defence looks like in other games. Like, I mean, the defence was pretty strong against Newcastle. It was all right against Burnley, except for a deflection. Like, I mean, and those are the games that will decide it, really. But you can't rush fullbacks back. Yeah. It's just too taxing a job in the modern game. So... Especially with Bellerin coming back from a knee injury, like you can't just chuck him back into the side.
It'd feel a little harsh on Maitland-Niles as well. He looks like he's kind of growing into the role despite being brought up as a midfielder, right?
Oh, he was excellent against Newcastle, really, really good against Newcastle, and good against Burnley as well. He's better as a wing back than a full-on right back, as you'd expect. But yeah, he's done a good job in difficult circumstances. I still look forward to us having Hector Bellerin back into the side. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you could potentially be a different side with fullbacks that profile like that.
Oh.
There we go, Arsenal building.
Classic quick break.
Arsenal building from the back.
Pass it backwards twice.
So, this fixture, and obviously, read this morning that you were training with Arsenal originally before you signed for Tottenham, so you got experience kind of in both setups.
Yeah.
Did this mean the most for you as a fixture as a professional footballer?
Yeah. I mean, this is the big one. Growing up, this was even through the academy. Arsenal Tottenham is a massive game.
Were you a Tottenham fan whilst in the Arsenal academy? Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, okay,
cool. I mean, Arsenal had a brilliant academy when I was a kid. They had, they was up there with the best in the world. They were brilliant. There was a good chance here.
That's what I mean by Spurs not doing a great job in the area.
So, I mean, this game, this is where you can be so expansive in this.
Keep going then, son.
Arsenal on the back. Go on, son, beat him. One-on-one.
Oh, what a save! You do not want Son coming inside.
What a save.
On that right foot, and kind of taking that finesse sort of shot. Arsenal a little bit lucky there not to be 2-0 down.
Lamela again off the ball.
Outstanding stop.
Making up for terrible work on the first goal.
Outstanding stop there from the big German. And I kind of empathise with you trying to go through your story there whilst watching a game like this, because it's just end to end. I'm not sure how much extra knowledge we're going to get in the first 45.
The thing is that you're watching it, Arsenal look like they're on top, but as soon as they give it away, Tottenham are just breaking through them. And they know if they get 3v3 against that Arsenal defence, they're going to get chances. I mean, they've had 3 great chances, Tottenham.
Dave, a couple of big sighs from you at the end of that so far. Not panning out the way you thought the first kind of 20 minutes would, right?
We look so defensively fragile. It's extremely worrying, mate.
You said that in such a composed fashion, but it's
Even
extremely
why
worrying.
is it just locked? We need to try and build. We're at home. Like you know, this game is 90 minutes. Let's just try and build a little something right now. Stupid.
Typical Arsenal fans, isn't it? Typical Arsenal fans.
Well, you mean you're kind of getting sucked into the frenetic pace of the game?
Well, it's just they always, you know, they sign
Lack
a
of
couple of
control.
players, they think they're at it, they think they're going to win the league all of a sudden, got the best 11, we've got the 3rd best 11 in the league.
I
feel like we might see fireworks on the sofa, to be honest.
Played off the park, at their own ground.
I wouldn't quite say
It
that,
sums
mate.
them up.
That's what we've got Jamie O'Hara here for, to stir the pot with some FD Arsenal boys. William, what they're saying in the comments? Agreeing with Dave or agreeing with Jamie?
Just to stir the pot even further, James Nolan has said Leicester have a better defence and midfield than Arsenal at the moment. That's not me, that's the words of James Nolan, a big FD fan.
James Nolan, what do you make of James Nolan's comments, Pat?
They've got a great midfield, Leicester, and they've got a really... I don't know, Leicester's defence, I might be there with you. It kind of depends how good Tierney is when he comes back in, whether Bellerin's lost a step, like, we don't really know. Midfield, I think it's hard to say. Like, I think Arsenal's first choice midfield, and especially the depth, is a lot better. Like Torreira Ceballos is a pretty handy pair, and Guendouzi, the fact that Guendouzi's a useful player last season when he was 19 years old is a pretty good sign for his potential. But yeah, I mean, if your argument is that Leicester look really, really good, I completely agree. And all those guys are 22 as well.
Yeah.
You know, like Ben Chilwell's super young. Ricardo Pereira's not as young, but Soyuncu's really young. And Ndidi, Tielemans, Maddison, I think they're all 22, those players. So, I don't know, the future's kind of bright for Leicester if they can keep that squad together.
Most certainly. I agree. To an extent, I mean, it's been good for Leicester that Sionku has kind of hit the ground running. Let's see how he's faring in 10 games' time. He looks like an excellent player, and his profile is very similar to Harry Maguire in that sense, where he's just playing out from the back very comfortably.
When I've spoke to a few people who are close at Leicester and know the ins and outs, and they actually rate that Sionchu more than Harry Maguire.
Interesting.
They think he's going to be...
Has that been a positive PR for Leicester, or do they genuinely mean it?
Genuinely. That's from people like inside the club who they are basically saying they didn't care that Maguire was gone. They didn't mind because they knew that he was going to step up to the plate.
And of course, they've got Benkovic, who I know a little bit about from last season. He was on loan at Celtic. He was excellent. I think he'll be a very good deputy for either centre-half if they get injured. Johnny Evans has bags of experience. So the Maguire exit hasn't really dented them significantly, has it? So I don't think it's the most outlandish claim made there from Mr. Norton, was it? Naughty Norton.
Nolan or something, wasn't it?
Nolan.
And he a film director.
Nolan.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Close.
Jonathan Nolan is also his brother's screenwriter.
Kevin Nolan play for Bolton.
Kevin Nolan. Yeah. Any other
Your famous Nolan
famous
didn't use the
Nolans?
hashtag TFS.
The Nolan sisters, get them in the comments below. You know, can you name another famous Nolan? What an excellent question. Don't start thinking now, Will. I was about to come to you for another question, mate.
People speaking, such as the social media world. Pepe talking about the £70 million price tag. Now, obviously, we're not going to be judging him after 4 games, but he had the chances in the Liverpool game. At a stage like this, does he really need to show his price tag worth?
I mean, the fact he was generating those chances is great in the first place, isn't it? The fact he was there and he was causing them danger is a big plus. Pat, I imagine Arsenal fans are pretty pleased with this start. It'll be a weird kind of time to question the way he's adjusted to the Premier League, right?
Yeah, I think it's quite hard to... He was very good against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Like, yes, he missed the chance, but he also created that chance by himself. Like, so he definitely looks like he's going to be a really good player, and he was pretty much the only player who got much of anything in that game.
Yeah.
He was really the danger man. Yeah, obviously you want him to be making a difference in these sorts of matches, but like... Fundamentally, Arsenal also need to beat up on the smaller teams, which they used to do.
Can he? Oh! Who's that? Danny Rose jumping.
Danny Rose has made some last-minute interventions in this game. They're just unbelievable.
Well, the man that Pat was just discussing there, Nicolas Pepe, almost getting in the back post. That's
a great cross.
That is an awesome
great ball. Sanchez again, getting beat.
Danny Rose, so good.
Aubameyang just literally staying out in that space.
He's going back across
hitting
the
it
goal.
back stick. I tell you, Danny Rose has done very well there.
He has. He's just made himself kind of big there, hasn't he? Without conceding.
I'm telling you,
handball.
that it's going to be an issue.
Danny Rose.
Oh!
Oh, what an effort. What's happened there, Dave? Lucas Torreira.
Yeah, I think that
Gone
went.
up for a
Is
throw-in.
that, has the camera angle done
Yeah,
his
it's
in?
done.
Yeah, I
Bang
think
it
this has gone close to the corner flag. Boom.
Oh, he's absolutely
it's not that bad.
He's absolutely John O'Shea, who was,
Had
of
to hit
course,
it.
you know, on the show. What a gentle giant that man was. Do you remember that shot that went out for a throw-in, infamously?
Yeah.
No? Yeah? Just have to trust me on that one.
That's bold.
Joining a new club, how difficult is it to sort of, assimilate? Because we talk about
to
Pepe
step
now.
straight in.
Yeah, so you obviously went out on loan a number of times. So
Well,
you've got
yeah, I went to
experience
sign
with
for
that.
Wolves,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's a big step. You're moving your whole family, especially for him, because he's moving to another country. So he will need a settling in period. He's a young lad, Pepe. Yeah, it is.
Do you think football fans are a little bit, quick to judge people in the first few months when they're
when you've got a
dealing with these
70
sort of
million
issues?
price tag, people will want to see instant results, but you need to give the lad a chance. You can see the potential that he's got, and he will need a settling in period. He might need half a season. He hasn't played Premier League football before, so it's completely different in terms of the pace of the game. It's relentless. Every team's a difficult game. So,
aside from playing style, what are some other factors that enable you to kind of settle quicker, or what are some other obstacles, in and around the club? Because obviously you settled very quickly at Portsmouth when you went out on loan, and you won their Player of the Season. Then you went to Wolves, and it kind of didn't work out for you at Wolves as much. So, what are some other dynamics that maybe as football fans aren't particularly aware of?
The perfect, it's, I would say, move as close as you can to the training grounds straight away. So you can settle in straight away. Be at the training ground as much as possible, around the players, around the staff. Because a lot of these, lads that come abroad, they don't actually move over straight away. They don't bring their families over. So for me, is get your family over here, get settled, and if you're settled in your home life, then you'll settle in straight away and a lot quicker. At the club, and that's what I found when I went to Portsmouth. I moved down there and I stayed down there. When I signed for Wolves, even though it didn't go well for me, when I first went there, it did go really well, and that's because I moved there. I moved my family up there, put the kids in school, and I just think that's you got to have your home life right. And if you get that right, then you'll settle it, and then the football will take care of itself.
Well, I suppose maybe that's the problem with Jose Mourinho, mate. He lived in a hotel for 2 years, didn't he?
But I don't understand that. I mean, I don't understand that. You're the manager of one of the biggest clubs in the world. Hotel.
It can't be good for your state of
it's
mind.
like you need your family around you. It's important because you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, and it's important to have the home fix of people around you, who you love.
Sage advice.
You look at what Pep did. He moved to city centre, knocked 2 flats together, made himself at home in the city centre, and then Mourinho's 20 minutes down the
isn't it? Infallible bloke. I mean, talking of good and bad days, Arsenal have had 5 shots at the moment, none of them on target. Is that going to change with this David Luiz free kick, David?
Top bins.
Yes. Yes.
The script is written for him.
This
isn't
one
it?
might knock Dave out, this free kick.
He's going to
This one's going to land in Brentford.
He's going to hit one of them straight footers, isn't he? Like, it's going to end up either in the top left or in the top left of the stand.
Yeah, it's going to come down with snow on it.
Right, Pepe.
Right, we're all waiting on bated breath here.
Hey!
Oh!
I don't think that was that close.
Will, you were very vocal about that. That really tickled your pickle. What happened, mate?
I think I was just trying to G up the content a little bit there by stirring the pot, but yeah, it's absolutely about 3 foot wide, no chance of it ever going in. But
Shades of Torreira's effort.
Just trying to get a rise out of Dave, but he didn't move, and he's clutching the ball even closer now. So
He's giving me anxiety.
For this game, you'll see the 50 Shades of David Jackson. He's a different animal when he's watching Arsenal.
It's settled down a little bit, though. Like, Arsenal have been a little bit better in the last couple of minutes than they were before that.
Yeah,
which is not saying that. Oh, no, Dave's horrific.
settle down a little bit.
So what's happened? Danny Rose, who's defended
Horrendous challenge.
admirably so
Horrendous
far,
challenge.
just conceded a
This is a
free
lot
kick
of pressure
and he's
to
been
invite out here.
You know what Spurs are doing, right? They're trying to play out from the back, but what they don't realise is you can set up to play at the back, hit it to Harry Kane. That's where we scored from. You're inviting pressure, and this, it's the way that everyone wants to play now in the Premier League, and I get it. To play out from the back, but there are times when it's like, let's go off. Let us get us up the pitch. You'll win a few headers, and we'll break up from there.
Especially if them two went, the partnership at the back doesn't look the best for.
I suppose Arsenal are a hard team to play against it in that sense, right? Plenty of pace up there, some really smart, intelligent
that
forwards.
works really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, but also in this game, like, I'd understand it more if they weren't a goal up. Because if their aim was to suck Arsenal forward as much as possible, get them to press them, and then hit over the top, I'd understand it. Once you're a goal up, why take the risk?
Still a pretty cavalier approach.
And also, then you saw Vertonghen. Vertonghen wasn't even ready for it when Luis played it to him, and he's panicking, and you just think, why would you want to put panic on a side that's winning 1-0?
Still playing.
It's a very good point. What is the benefit at the moment for Tottenham playing it out from the back?
Well, I think that's
in such a high-stakes fashion.
I think he's right in what he's saying. That what they're trying to do is, the reason they're playing out from the back is to, you know, to suck Arsenal onto you, and then once you get through them, then you're through them, you know, and then you're on their back four. The problem is that you invite the pressure, and if you give it away, you know, they're in on goal. So sometimes I just think, you know, you've got to mix it up a bit. Don't be too predictable.
Sure. And it's pretty fascinating. The last 10 minutes have definitely been different.
Lots of set pieces for Arsenal. Lots of, like, Spurs breaking up the game with lots of tactical fouls, which is smart unless you get a booking like Danny Rose. But the ones before that were smart.
It's slowed down a little bit, and Arsenal have kind of wrestled possession away from Tottenham, haven't they?
But Spurs won't mind because, you know, their most dangerous attacks have come when we've had corners. Like, I think somebody actually did a study, like a football analyst did a study about, like, people taking shots when it comes out to on the edge of the box from a corner, because it's so tempting, right? Like, the ball drops to you. But if it gets charged down, you're in serious trouble. Your defenders are miles forward.
So it springs the people's attacks more so than...
Well, sometimes the best thing would be you've got a guy who's almost certainly unmarked out on the wing. Like, your tactic with a corner is always to cross for a headed goal, right? Pretty much. So you could recycle it out to him and try that again. But instead, just shooting from the edge of the box, it's a little bit of a, I don't know, people trying to get glory. Maybe it wouldn't be the wisest move.
Not the best of corners.
Rubbish corner.
Apart from that,
David Jackson. I mean, not the best of through balls from either Guendouzi or Luiz. It was Guendouzi. We're getting the traditional football social close-up of David Jackson just kind of dead behind the eyes.
Look at the powder.
You look stunning today, mate. You look beautiful.
Stupid makeup on his
Well, yeah, they're probably coming down in a minute.
Someone said in the comments he looks a little bit like Christian Eriksen.
Yeah, he gets that a lot.
Do
you? Just nothing from him at the moment. He's just going to sulk until Arsenal equalise. It'll be for the benefit of the show if Arsenal get a goal.
Spurs have played well.
But there you are, last 10 minutes, 68 possession for Arsenal. And
what is he doing?
I don't think Luis, for his whole career has been particularly great distributing from goal kick, right?
No, but he's not notably terrible. Like, I mean, he's got a little bit worse over the last... Actually, last season, tell you what, 2 seasons ago, he had a terrible year. And that's when everyone kind of agreed, oh, Lloris is overrated. And then last season, he was amazing for most of the year. And now I think he's actually a little bit underrated again. Like, I really...
pendulum has swung.
I've always liked Hugo Lloris. And bear in mind, this is a guy who they've got hundreds of appearances out of. And I think they paid, what, 7 mil for him?
Foul.
Oh, they switched over.
Yeah, see you later. That is...
that
is ridiculous. So are we going to talk about that touch there? Just think to
people like Manuel Munoz, well, we didn't go and buy Hugo Lloris when he was at Lyon.
We were linked with him at the time, and we didn't go for him, and Spurs paid a pittance.
Yeah,
for Vertonghen as well. I think they got paid 15 mil for Vertonghen and Lloris. That's about as good value as you can get.
And 12 for Eriksen, wasn't it?
Yeah, though a few people passed on Eriksen as well, which was weird.
It was very weird. Who's one of the more underrated players you've played with then? Who's someone that you've personally rated and the footballing community maybe hasn't shined a light on?
Oh, that's a tough question. Underrated, I'd probably say someone like Tom Cairney. Okay. I mean, I know he's rated in the Championship, but the people don't rate him so much in the Premier League. But if he was at Tottenham, he would get in their team for me.
He's a quality player.
He's a quality player, yeah, technical, he can pass. Didn't really happen for him when Fulham got in the Premier League, but for me...
Yeah, it didn't happen for anyone at Fulham, did it?
Yeah, they just had a bad season, but obviously for me, he's classed as one of the best players in the Championship, but obviously, yeah, I mean, on the ball, he's as good as anyone I've seen.
Yeah, do you think he's going to fare a little bit better under Scott Parker?
I think so, yeah. I think Scott will get the best out of him. I know he's got huge respect for Scott Parker, so... but it's hard to say underrated players, because I always think if you're playing in the Premier League, you're there. Do you know what I mean? You're not underrated. And I think a lot of people say I hear people talk about, oh, he's rubbish. And I'm telling you now, you ain't rubbish if you're playing in the Premier League. No rubbish players playing in the Premier League.
What was it like going down to the Championship? Because we had Marla and Heskey on last week, and they were saying that you go to Old Trafford and the players look at you and they give you time because they're just like, do something with it.
Yeah.
But then when you go down to the Championship, it's just the pressing is incessant, the energy is incessant. Did you find that when you went kind of to Wolves and to Portsmouth?
So I actually found it easier to play in the Premier League than the Championship.
Which is so counterintuitive, isn't
because,
it?
as you said, you get time on the ball in the Premier League because they know you're a good player. Good chance for Arsenal.
See, but look, overcommitted again.
But yeah, I mean, this is the problem.
Well done. Nice.
Oh, well, was that
Socrates?
He got to it. I mean, he kind of jumped and then somebody arrived, but that was just as well.
I mean, his leading foot was like a cricket bat there. He could not have got any straighter. Harry Winks now.
Harry Winks is a good player, you know. He's in the England squad. Is he in the England squad?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I think. I mean, he's probably people say that would say underrated or you know.
Nice.
I think he's a massive player for Tottenham, and I know people say, oh yeah, but you know he doesn't make things happen, but he keeps the ball, and you can't score without the football, you know. So for England, I think he should be starting for England, Harry Winks. I genuinely do, as a sitting midfielder, getting on the ball, making things happen.
Yeah, really exciting time.
In the Championship, it's 100 mile an hour, so you don't get time on the ball. But I remember when I've played at Old Trafford, played at the Emirates, they know you're a good player, so they're not going to jump in because you'll just beat them. So you get time on the ball, they give you that respect.
We say that, but in this game,
not this game.
flying in each other. I suppose there's that added spice, isn't there, of the derby?
Yeah, this game is you don't get time on the ball.
People keen to make an impression. There's some new faces in there. Thoughts 35 minutes in, Van Straats?
I don't think Spurs will be happy they're in the lead, but I'm not sure Pochettino will be happy with some of the defensive situations. But Spurs will be happy with the overall flow of the game. Arsenal have just got to hope that they can finish one of these half chances they're getting.
You're getting a little bit of joy in wide areas, aren't you? There's been some really nice deliveries.
It's not like there's no danger. Like, it's not. There are games Arsenal will play where we will just pass it around in a U and there's no danger the whole time. But that is not the case here. However, there's danger at the other end constantly too.
Go on, then.
Harry Kane.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Oh, God, across the box, he's in.
Shades of the first.
No, why did you not hit that?
Shades of the first goal there. Spurs Leno tips an effort.
He took a touch there.
Just wide enough on this
That's
occasion.
absolutely incredible from Lacazette, by the way.
And Lacazette's turned 3 men into terracotta warriors of the pitch. OK, we've got the thoughts of Van Straat in 35 minutes in. Thoughts of the fans, William?
Yeah, lots of people still picking apart David Luiz's and mistakes from earlier on. And still people picking apart Dave's comment that Arsenal were the third best starting 11 in the Premier League. Not my words, those are the words of the loyal Football Daily and Soccer AM fans there. Questions coming in thick and fast. Obviously, we had the Champions League draw in the week. And which English club do we think had the best draw out of that? Obviously, there's no easy draw because it's the Champions League, but some more favourable teams in groups.
There's some fascinating draws in there. Should we start with your club, Jamie?
It's too much.
We got Bayern Munich. Who was the other ones? I can't remember.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no easy games. Let's be honest in the Champions League.
Olympiacos and Belgrade, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
That
yeah. I mean, I think it's a good draw. It's a good draw for us. There's a big team, obviously Bayern Munich, but I'd fancy us to get through that group.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll do the heroics of what we did last season, because that was just insane what we did. But yeah, I mean, it's important that we just get in the top 4 again this year. I think we should try and win a trophy, you know, try and go for a League Cup or an FA Cup and really go for one of them. You know, I think it's time that the fans deserve a trophy. And I know we've tried to establish ourselves as a top 4 football club, which is important, but, you know, you want to win trophies.
Has that been at the expense, I mean, we say at the expense of cup runs, but you went to the Champions League final. Domestic cups, has Poch generally fielded a weaker side then? It's not something I kind of keep tabs on Spurs.
It's definitely in the League Cup we were weaker. I think the FA Cup, you still play your strongest side, but I just think the emphasis is on the Premier League, and as much as, you know, it doesn't matter what team you field, when you're constantly thinking we've got to get top 4, you've got to get top 4, you just want to, you want to get into that, into the top 4, you know, and you take away the way that you'll look at the other cup competitions.
As you were taking us through, you know, Spurs' chances in the various cups there was just a slow pan up from the ball to Dave's face as he looks at this. Oh!
Tottenham free kick, which Bernd Leno has parried wide in much more convincing fashion this time. Guendouzi's kept in. But Spurs have put it back in a dangerous position. Well, what's going on, mate?
They're all over them. Harry wins.
You're in.
Son,
Go on, you're in. It's a penalty, ref.
It's a
He's
penalty.
giving it.
Yes!
He's giving it.
Yeah,
Atkinson has
100%.
given it. It's all going
Who's
wrong
that?
for Spurs, for Arsenal, sorry, at home.
Surprise, surprise.
Jack's
Jack.
been
Yeah.
booked. Has he already been booked as well? Hasn't
No, I don't think he has. I don't think
You know what it
Arsenal
is?
player's been
That
booked.
comes from the free kick where we've kept it alive, won it back. Zach,
my
Jack,
God.
what is he doing?
Challenge.
It's a bad
Flying
pass
in.
from Son as well.
It's a
That's
so
reckless,
wrong.
isn't it? That's reckless.
Is that going to go to VAR?
There's no need, is there?
Big moment.
I think this is 2-0 at half-time, guys.
My 2-1 bet's looking good, isn't it?
When the fun stops, Jamie.
So, Harry Kane, who, up until this season was a notorious slow start, one of the most boring narratives in football. And here he has a chance to add to his Premier League goal tally with a penalty against Bernd Leno.
Look at Leno's hands so far in this game.
Come on, Harry.
He'll smash it, he'll pass
This is
it
a
back
big
to
moment.
him.
This
There's
is.
a parry up and coming.
No, this is going straight
Here
in.
we go then. Harry Kane steps up. Quite a short run up. Very good at penalties, isn't he?
Yes!
2-0 to Tottenham in the North London derby
Oh, dear.
after
Get in!
40 minutes away from home. Don't really fare very well here traditionally, but in control now.
I mean,
Jamie.
last time they were 2-0 up away at the Emirates, we beat them 5-2. So it's fine.
There is that. And that's
We're
exactly
playing
why
so
he's here,
poor,
to
man.
extinguish the hopes of Spurs
It's a
fans
great
everywhere.
penalty. He's good at penalties, Harry Kane, isn't he? He doesn't miss.
What's Xhaka doing, though? Idiot. It's absolute moron.
Why is he? Well, I don't know why he's playing, but, is what it is.
Dave, do you want a bit of background information on penalties in the North London derbies?
Go on, mate.
It's the 19th, mate, of this fixture, the most
Is
in
it?
any
Oh my
Premier League
good
fixture.
God.
I mean,
Does that make you feel better at all?
That's just so stupid.
It's criminal that from Xhaka. That what is he doing, jumping in there? You can't do that. Son's, Son's got good possession of the ball there in the box. You know he's going to lay it
outside
off.
the box. Why is he doing
Yeah,
that?
it's criminal.
He's been brought in, like you said, Pat, for his
Passing, really.
his versatility,
Wow,
his
that's a
versatility
foul.
to an
That's a foul.
extent, but
But Spurs, I don't know why Spurs are being quite so aggressive. There's no danger there. Like,
It's a
but they've
derby.
got a bunch of yellows at the moment. Like, it's a bit worrying. So I don't know. The thing is, Arsenal need a goal pretty soon.
Willock on at half time.
No,
I'd expect Ceballos a bit more.
no, it's fine. We'll get one back for half time. And it's back on.
Kane's record is incredible against Arsenal. He was always going to play a part today, wasn't he?
His record's pretty good against
10 goals. 10 goals in 10 games.
Why
In
have we let
particular, then,
Nacho
I should
Monreal
say.
go,
In
by the way?
particular.
Stupid.
Because he wasn't good enough.
He's
Go
not
on, you're
better-
in.
No.
Go on, you're in.
Oh my goodness. Bernd Leno is very, very quick off his line, isn't it? Very good starting position.
Yeah,
Excellent
he's
fade
good,
as well.
Very good keeper.
Is that a good fade? We can discuss that for a long time. That's not.
That feels like a conversation for half time
Yeah,
when
I'm
we
not
go
a
to the
fan of
VT.
it.
It's quite a brutal fade.
It's a strong
I'll
slant.
admit, the contrast is stark. William, talking of stark, has there any stark remarks in the comments?
Yeah, obviously, Granit Xhaka is getting what can only be described as a pounding in the comments. Jay Trembeth says, am I the only one that feels Xhaka is meaningless in this formation when Guendouzi and Torreira can sit in a 2 and bring Ozil to sit in the hole?
Right, let's throw that out to the floor then.
TFC.
Do we agree with those comments?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Xhaka should be playing in this team, especially when you've got Ceballos as well.
Yeah.
Guendouzi I really like. Torreira I think is brilliant. Why is Xhaka in there?
Again, Xhaka, he's
Anyone want a
dived for
header
ball.
today?
I don't know why he's in there.
Also ties that you think of Spurs and they've got all the attacking runners behind the strikers like Eriksen and Lamella, and that's what led to the goal. And then when it
The
comes
thing
to
is
Arsenal-
as well is like I've done a lot of talking about who's better, Harry Kane or Aubameyang. Aubameyang's playing on the left. He's your best striker. Now I know Lacazette's he wants to play down the middle, but then you've got your best goal scorer, one of the best in the world, playing left wing.
Golden Boot winner. last year.
Yeah,
I
playing left
suppose
wing.
Lacazette's one of those guys that often drops deep to facilitate Aubameyang coming inside, and you want a defensive forward in a fixture like this where it's so frenetic. But
he's better down the middle of Aubameyang for
see
me.
where you're coming from. Arsenal need to produce something meaningful soon, don't they? Because it has been a lot of half chances, but in down the right-hand side here,
Maitland-Niles.
and again, it's
Maitland-Niles.
looked lively. He's
Pepe.
oh,
Good.
that's better, isn't it? Pepe finding a pass inside the box.
Did
Who
Watford
was that
get
with
a
the follow-up
after
shot,
that?
Pat?
I think. I'm not sure who's going in for... I think Torreira might be going in for the follow-up. Torreira's playing really far forward.
Oh, that was Maitland-Niles, sorry, setting up Pepe out.
Yeah. He's done well to get that shot away, actually, in a lot of traffic.
Good save.
I think the thing is,
really good from Hugo Lloris.
Spurs have played well, right? But both have got off, for goodness sake.
I put my head down to look at the comments, and Spurs are in.
Just missed Spurs. Did Spurs win a corner then?
Yeah, it's a good thing Maitland-Niles as fast as he is. Any other defender, some would have been away.
Both Spurs goals were very cheap though. Even though the first one, just like a long ball.
It's just naive, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this is the problem with Arsenal, is the defensive frailties that they've got. You know, that they're there to be exposed.
Yeah.
And you know, they haven't addressed. They thought they addressed it with David Luiz. You know, and it could be a good signing, could not. But at the end of the day, you haven't really addressed the problem.
Why has another player out to him?
I suppose it's frustrating. Well, it's frustrating for Unai.
I mean, he never looked comfortable.
In the Arsenal have improved their defence meaningfully, but those players aren't available for selection yet. So it must be frustrating for him to hear these things in terms of Arsenal haven't progressed since last season because they've gone and found the right players in full-back positions. But like Pat said, we won't see them until sort of October
waiting for Bellerin to come back.
And Tierney to come back at left-back.
Well, how long's Tierney out for?
Who's a much better defender than
Should be in full training in a couple of weeks. Yeah, so it's not like too long.
And David
term,
Luiz
but you've no idea what shape they'll be in when they come back, right?
You think though, what we were talking? I'm going to make a point on Sanchez.
What are you going to say?
All the talk was about that exploiting that right back with Sanchez, and apart from that, obvious
but they are though. They are. If you watch it,
He's off, isn't he?
Is that Sissoko?
Sissoko, yeah. So, if
if
you're Arsenal at half-time, you are saying, get the ball to Aubameyang on that side of the pitch and don't stop. Every time, get the ball and play out there and overload that area. Because for me, watching it, Tottenham have looked good, but the weak area is Sanchez. He ain't a fullback. You know, he's all right. He'd do a... If you're watching it properly, you know, the quality's not been good enough for Arsenal in that area because they should be overloading that area for fun.
Well, they got through so much early on. Well, also, though, Danny Rose, who is great, but Danny Rose is booked. Yeah. And so, like, now you're kind of worried about both those areas for Spurs if Arsenal can get there. But to me, it's just bring on Ceballos. Like, Ceballos is he's a much better defender than pretty much everyone in the midfield except Torreira. He's a really good dribbler, and Arsenal have nobody in that midfield who's a dribbler. And he'll give you the ball progression Xhaka does. I don't really see what Xhaka gives that Ceballos doesn't.
Do you want to go 4-2-3-1?
Except maybe height.
And kind of bring Aubameyang back a touch and Pepe back a touch.
The formation... Oh! The formation almost doesn't matter that much.
Good parry.
Like,
it's just phone numbers. Pep says.
Genuinely, the formation is not that important there. Like, it's going to be the same guys getting forward.
It's getting a little bit cagey now, isn't it, at the end of this first half for an injury time. Tottenham managing to clear their lines, but this is better pressure from Arsenal. At least there's an intensity there.
Oh, what a touch!
Yeah! Get him! We have a game, ladies and gentlemen. We have a game.
That is a sensational goal.
We have a game.
He does tend to score. When he scores, Lacazette's goals are good goals.
Them 3 touches there.
You want Lacazette in that position, don't you? Because he's the most instinctive finisher, I think, at Arsenal.
I think he's the best finisher at Arsenal, but Aubameyang gets more chances. That's why Aubameyang scores more goals.
Jackson, take us through this goal, mate.
Take us through that. It's really poor defending from Spurs there. Arsenal kept pressing the ball. I thought it was a bit of a crap flip that he's played in his left foot, but Lacazette had taken it in his stride, taken another touch, 2 touch, boom, finish. Really good goal.
From Pepe here.
Extremely good forward finish.
Wow, that's a glorious first and second touch.
They needed that. That was really vital.
Second one even more so.
Sanchez's terrible clearance, though, straight back to the midfield.
You know, it starts from Danny Rose.
It was cheap, wasn't it?
It starts from Danny Rose. We got out and he's had loads of time to pick a pass and he's tried to beat the player over on that side of the pitch. And then it costs us. You know, you've got a minute left. Hit it down the sides, down the channel. You've got a minute left. You're 2-0 up. That completely changes the whole game. Changes the whole game.
And where Arsenal are experiencing a bit of joy is where the players have been booked. And now, and now this is going to embolden Arsenal in the second half, isn't it, to attack those guys with a bit more intensity. So as a player, then you go into the changing rooms. You've just conceded.
I would be really angry.
How much does this impact your mentality?
I would be digging out Danny Rose. I would be, and I'm a big fan of him, but I would be saying to him, what are you doing? There's 30 seconds left, a minute left of the half, we're 2-0 up, and you're trying to beat a player when it's dropped out to you on the edge of the box. You know, get rid of it. There's times when you're just like, Get it down their end of the pitch.
Well,
it changes the whole
got his
game.
booking as well, right?
Yeah.
Again, he was trying to take somebody on, and it got away from him and got booked. So stop trying to dribble, Danny Rose.
Do you think he's doing that because of that narrow diamond? Because he's been tasked with that. You've got to progress the ball down the left because we are so.
Yeah, but then there's
tight
times
in
when you
midfield.
just get it and you look at the clock and you know, and it just, and you just clip one down the side. Clip one down the side, get Harry Kane running or Son, and then you're up the pitch. But straight, you lose it there in that area. All of a sudden, you saw Arsenal just went like that, and then you think, there was a chance coming. It changes the half-time team talk because it's gone from, look, boys, we're looking really comfortable now. You know that Arsenal are going to come out like flying. Their whole team talk completely changes. They were 2-0 down, now it's 2-1, but they've got one just before the end. Yeah. They'll be positive going into that now.
Particularly when something happens like that against a team like Arsenal, with the rivalry, with the record that you've had in the past as well, even as a player, do you start to think they're going to get back into this? Because this is just generally what happens.
What you start thinking is that one thing is with Arsenal is they don't give up. Yeah. They'll keep going, especially at home. So if you go in now and you're thinking, right, you know what's coming in the second half. Like, it's going to be relentless. So they need to, shut up shop, hit them on the counter again, but just don't do stupid things like giving the ball away on the edge of the box, and don't be overly confident. Remember, this is Arsenal. They will get back in the game if you keep giving them chances.
Well, talking of the game, let's have a look at the match stats. They are on screen right now. So pretty even in terms of attempts, but Arsenal not really testing Lloris out as much as Burnley. Burnley, of course, has had to make some outstanding saves. Let's not talk about corners. And possession's been pretty equal. It's kind of... You mentioned, it was like a game of basketball earlier. There's been various parts of the game where each side, has dominated possession, but it's kind of worked out pretty much the same.
Typical North London derby, this.
It's
same
been
score as it was
cages,
in
been
this
close.
fixture last season at half-time.
Yeah. So how, as a fan, how much does this kind of embolden your overview of the match now Arsenal have scored going into the second half?
I think it's probably a slightly fairer representation of the match. I think Spurs have been better, but I don't think they've been 2 goals better. I think 2-1's probably about right. I mean, it'll be a better second half, certainly. But this is exactly how it was last season. Spurs had a first half penalty that Harry Kane had scored. They'd got a goal as well that was a little bit cheap, where Bernd Leno had let one in he shouldn't have, and Arsenal had also scored as well. So we had it 2-1 at half time last season, and then it was all about changes in the second half. Obviously, Spurs though they've got Lo Celso and Ali on the bench, which is quite exciting for Spurs fans to have those options, whereas Arsenal are a little bit thinner on the bench, I'd say.
Be interesting to see if any changes are made. Is anyone insisting on changes in the comments?
Yeah.
Are we getting a lot of Ceballos?
Yeah, a lot of Ceballos coming in already, and people just wondering what... I think the next move, who's going to make it and who's going to stick or twist. We were talking about Dele Alli and Soso there, and Ceballos is the main one from the comments.
For me, I'd take Saka off at half-time, and I'd put Ceballos on. I would play... I'd play Guendouzi and Torreira sitting, and let Ceballos play in front of him,
and just let that front
and just let that
be
fluid,
fluid.
Be fluid,
Okay.
Because there's they're causing problems, and then if you've got Guendouzi and Torreira kind of sitting, it stops the counter attack, and then they'll just camp in.
OK, I'll be interested to see if any changes are made. And, of course, if you're not subscribed to Football Daily and you've just tuned in now for our analysis of the game, then please hit that subscribe button and send in your questions, because we're going to rattle through some now and at the end of the show. Will, let's absolutely blast through the best ones you've got. Pick of the bunch, mate.
People are talking about the right-back position and how bad Sergio Aurier must be. Is that anything you can give an insight into, Jamie?
Well, he can't be bad, he's got massive pedigree. He's obviously doesn't trust him in the big games. I think he maybe potentially has come back from injury. Is he? Has he not been?
I'm not sure he's fully fit.
I don't think he's fully fit, so I think that's why he's probably not throwing him in. But is Sanchez on a booking?
No. We can get confirmation of that, yes, Danny Rose.
Maybe.
Sissoko's done well to avoid it. Yeah, no booking for...
I just think Sanchez is going to get exposed in this second half, because they're going to be relentless now, Arsenal. They're going to keep coming, And for me, looking at our bench, Dele Alli for me and Sergio Aurier would be ones I'll be looking to put on.
OK. Great question. Who we got up next, Will?
Down the bottom, Frizz says, after a fantastic performance yesterday from Sheffield United, do you think they've got enough to stay up?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've watched them a lot last season in the Championship. Chris Wilder, the manager, the way they play like a 3-5-2, and they're not afraid to go and play that way against anyone. And I said at the start of the season, don't be surprised if they're going to really surprise teams in the Premier League, and they're already showing that for me. I think they'll definitely stay up.
That's a bonus point against Chelsea, right? I know Kurt Zouma scored that unfortunate own goal at the end, and that's probably going to mean the Chelsea fans get even further on his back. But they've fared well against clubs that sort of like middling clubs like Crystal Palace. Like they completely dominated Crystal Palace, Sheffield United, and I thought that fares really well in terms of survival, because these are the sort of clubs that might get sucked into that relegation battle. And the fact that they were, I think they only allowed Palace to have 2 shots all game very early on in the season. That might be wrong. But it was an extremely low amount, and I for one kind of discounted them at the start of the season just because. The average age of the squad was quite high. They weren't that adventurous with their recruitment. Chris Wilder plucking players from the lower echelons of, English football.
That's why you're a presenter.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. I didn't even know who Callum Robinson was before, but he looks like a very comfortable Premier League player.
He's a very, very good manager, and the way he plays and the way he gets them set up, they are hard to beat, and they are free-flowing. They're not scared of anyone. The team that I'm most worried about is Aston Villa, and they've spent the most of the teams that come up. They spent a fortune.
So what makes you say that then? Why are you most worried about them?
Just the way they play, they're very Championship. They play very Championship football. If you watch Sheffield United, they're a bit like Bournemouth. They'll play, they're not frightened, they'll keep going, they'll keep doing what they believe in. With me, I think Aston Villa have brought in a lot of players, so that says to me that they weren't happy with what they had when they got promoted, and they knew they needed to improve. But the players that they've brought in, it takes time to gel that many players. It's not easy. And the problem with the Premier League is you don't have that time. You've got to go straight away. You need to kickstart. So I think, for me, Villa, they could struggle.
Yeah, you've kind of echoed those sentiments. Been impressed with sort of Wesleyans, some of the players who have adjusted quicker than I anticipated, but you've often put Villa kind of in your bottom 3 for similar reasons.
Yeah, I think Villa added a lot of players, and I still look at their squad and think that's probably a relegation level squad. There's talent in there. Don't get me wrong. If you look at them just as names on paper, you might prefer them maybe to Sheffield United. But I don't know. They've been pretty poor defensively so far. Actually, so have Norwich, but Norwich have shown an ability to score goals, which Aston Villa haven't. And I actually think, when we were talking earlier about teams who haven't started the season the way we expected, Palace are on 7 points, but I think Palace have been one of the worst teams in the league so far. Yeah. They've been really bad. They're very lucky to beat Man United.
I mean, their summer recruitment was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah, and obviously they lost Wan-Bissaka, which was an enormous loss for them, and Zaha was pretty unsettled as well. But Palace, I seriously have concerns about, but Palace looked comfortable. They dominated Villa. That's troubling for Villa. You can't. Those are the games that are going to matter for them in terms of staying up. And Norwich have already gone and smashed Newcastle. So I kind of think if they can't win those games, Villa will go down.
Do you feel like some of those teams in the lower rungs of the table, particularly the ones we've mentioned in Sheffield and Norwich, they're kind of the disparity in quality of player is kind of. System makes up for it a little bit. They've got clearer systems, clearer philosophies, whereas Villa's feels like they're scrambling, like they're reaching a little bit. Do you think that consistency is going to serve Sheffield United and Norwich well? Do you see any of the teams that came up staying here?
I don't know. I mean, they could stay up because it's really hard to say after a few games. I could easily see them all getting relegated still. I don't think all of them will. But it's interesting, actually, that Sheffield and Norwich have just kind of said, you know what, we're not going to go crazy. And if we go down, we're pretty sure we can come back up again with the squad and the style that we have. So, I don't know. Sheffield United, I still think that over the season, that the lack of player quality relative to some of the teams around them will hurt them. I do think so. But yeah, absolutely, the system makes up for a lot. It's the same with Spurs, right? Spurs go up against teams where the talent is just far and away above theirs, especially when you look at Spurs from a couple of years ago. But Pochettino's one of the best coaches in the world and gets more out of you than you think you can get. So Chris Wilder, even if Sheffield United don't stay up, I'm pretty sure Chris Wilder's going to stay in the Premier League.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it might just be a case of, like you said, how well they can ride out injuries to key personnel, because you can't play overlapping centre-backs if, I suppose, one of your centre-backs gets injured. Will, you've got a lot of experience in the Championship.
Yeah.
That wasn't a condescending laugh. It's just because I'm bringing the Championship
No,
up.
it's fine, mate.
I thought, you know,
that
would light the fire.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane.
What
do you make of the clubs that have come up then, as someone that's probably watched them more so than me at least? Yeah.
No, I think it's great to see that like Norwich and Sheffield United, like Pat said, is like sticking to that system and sticking to the way they take. I think the Championship in terms of quality has gone up so much in the last 3 to 5 years in terms of actual quality, where if you went down in previous years, it would be like, right, back to lumping it up to the front man and let's see what we can get off the back of him. The quality down there was clear to see with Norwich and Sheffield United last season. Aston Villa had to make the changes because in the Championship or Premier League they had to bring those players in, but I just worry for them in the fact that they don't really have a plan B. Dean Smith, a very, very offensive manager, and if it's not working, like we saw yesterday at Crystal Palace, I don't think they have much to go to. But then it can work like it did at Everton when they're under the lights at Villa Park. But yeah, I think they might struggle.
Interesting. We're talking of strength in depth. We actually have a clip now of the Arsenal kind of youth setup, and Sky went along and interviewed some of those guys. So let's roll that out for you right now.
Let me tell you now, I don't know how, but the whole world's gonna know my name. Just wait and see. They gonna talk about me. Things ain't never gonna be the same. Are you ready? Are you ready? Better make way, 'cause I'm coming through. Are you ready? Are you ready? Better make way, 'cause I'm coming through.
How excited should Arsenal supporters be about these guys, about the young players coming through?
We are very excited about our new chapter. Obviously, there were a lot of change in this club, including me being now academy manager. But the philosophy has never changed. We believe in young players who can represent Arsenal in the first team. And for these guys who are sitting here to represent the Arsenal first team in such a capacity is a proud moment for us all.
Arsenal's a club where they're not scared to give young players opportunity to play. And like Per said, it's a lot of young talent that are ready to bat your hand off for it, and it's a very exciting time for Arsenal and Arsenal fans. We want to get to the top, and I think we want to be big stars at Arsenal someday.
When did you all come across each other?
Really early, to be fair, around 9s and 10s, and the same with Emil. When did you join? You joined?
Yeah, on the 10s.
Yeah, so it was pretty early.
Are you thinking then already about being an Arsenal player one day?
When I first joined Arsenal, I was very surprised. I went at Chelsea for trial at first, and I didn't get in. So I went back to my Sunday League team, and Arsenal called straight after. So I come to Arsenal for a few trials, and I got in a few weeks later. But I think at that young age, I wasn't really thinking about the first team. It was just such a shock to me at the time.
I joined when I was on the 9s, but I've been there since I was 4.5.
Since when?
4.5. Because my brothers, Chris played as well, so they let me.
So you've got two brothers who are players, haven't you?
Yeah, they let me play with the older age group a few times, and I carried on from there. And then obviously you're allowed to sign when you're 9, so I signed there.
So 4.5, that's going to take some beating, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. 4.5 to the first team, it's going to take some beating.
And if you'd like to see any more of that feature, it is available on all of Sky Sports' digital platforms.
Lovely plug.
Thank you very much, David. And talking of lovely, look at that kit as the Arsenal players come out of the tunnel at the Emirates, all fired up.
Come on.
David, what do you want to see more of this second half?
It sounds, but I don't think we've played well at all. So despite we're kind of back in the game, yeah, we like, as much as the game last season when we went into 2-1 down, we'd actually played very well, and we're probably unlucky to go in. Today we're probably lucky to go in 2-1. So I'm hoping that they can use that as a bit of like, all right, we've kind of had our bad first 45. Now let's go and let's get the ball down. Let's get some, you know, because yeah, we've been atrocious. You're an absolute
Candid as usual, and that's
but
what we love about Dave Jackson.
Another 45 minutes.
I've got to say, mate, if you want to make the best bits at the very end, then I need to see a little bit more from you. Because you've just been sulking this whole time.
You need a couple of...
Talking of sulking, where is Peeves? There he is. No, maybe. Yes, he's back. Yes.
When you
just went to the little boys' room. he operates on his own time.
That's a fine.
Yeah.
That's a fun.
Oh, come on, Arsenal.
All right, here we go. Second half underway.
Oh, come on, boys.
And Dave just wants to see more competency. A better. Oh, hello.
And they're in, and they're in.
And they're in, and they're in.
Why?
It's a good positive start from Arsenal here.
And they're in, and they're in.
This is going to be the feature for me, second half. Arsenal are going to be camped in here.
Good header. Positive early signs, David.
Much better.
We've had a shot on target. It took about half an hour for that to happen in the first half.
You know what? I'm just looking at that though, right? Like our left back.
Oh yeah.
I'm just not a fan. I just hope this fella from coming. Yeah, Mr. Kieran.
I brought up the fact that he broke the standing jump record last week, and David Mailer couldn't have been any less interested. Got to say, he looked at me as if to say, "Why have you brought that up?" And he had a double hernia operation 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. You try jumping 54 centimetres after that, mate.
Come on, David. What have you done here?
Crumbs.
You got a good spring?
Yeah. No, surprisingly poor spring for someone of my height. And I hated heading the ball at Sunday League, so I found out where to position myself to avoid it.
Yeah.
But more sort of insight on that later. One question here from Kushaga. He said, should Arsenal switch to a back three to exploit the weak?
It's much better.
The weak and booked Spurs fullback.
Just deciphering that English there, are we? Good stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, no changes have been made. Is anyone surprised, or we anticipate seeing changes around 60 minutes?
Oh, dear Lord.
What is happening?
Dave has legitimately just stamped his feet.
No, but like, I don't know what Pepe was doing there. He kind of. You have to anticipate where you think the ball. I know I'm not professional football.
Should have punished.
No, you can tell.
Yeah, but we love talking. That's what we do. We wouldn't be here otherwise, Jamie. So you got to forgive us for that.
One I think is quite interesting.
Go on,
team
mate.
sheet looks a bit professional now more than this. But on the counter attack, Lucas Moura. I mean, we saw what he could do last year, especially in the Champions League.
Yeah.
If they are camped in their own half, surely he can cause some.
If you're talking about you saying Arsenal go to a back three,
that's it. That's one of the comments.
I think if they go to a back three, they lose this game because on the break is where they're going to hurt you. So defensively. They need that solid back four of a foundation. If they go to a three, I think they'll get hurt. I think they need to, for me, in 10 minutes Aka's got, and then they've got to put Tobias on.
Be a bit more proactive. Okay,
yeah,
10 minutes time.
You know, if Dele Alli's fit, I'd like to see him come on because he breaks lines, you know, and that's where Tottenham are getting joy. Getting down the sides of Arsenal.
Like Lamella for Ali, maybe.
Yeah,
just take down the breeze for a bit of a walk.
And then, you know, and maybe I would put Dele Alli on if he, you know, I don't know how fit he is though.
Okay. See, Unai deployed a free, a few times last season. How did you look in a free across the course of 18-19, Pat?
We were much better defensively in a three last season.
Really?
The defence was terrible at the beginning of the season. He went to a three just to get an extra body in there. And it sort of righted the ship until Rob Holding and Bellerin got injured at the same time.
Tell you who you need there, Dave. Jukovic. He's always banging them in at the back post.
That's far too easy, man.
Motherwell's finest.
All Harry Kane just
What's he done there? Ref! He's all over him! Well done, referee. Who's this ref? What's his name?
Martin Atkinson.
Atkinson.
Put a bit of respect on Atkinson's name there, Dave. One of the standout officials in the Premier League.
Is he?
Did the referee just get a clap then?
He did get a clap.
It's a positive start.
That's
Second half.
bit
That's horrible
behaviour.
behaviour.
He's onside.
He's let that ball go.
I'm pretty certain he was on as well.
He was on as well.
That's a handball.
Nicholas Pepe.
He was on. Torreira left that. He looked like he was on for me.
It was weird that he made the run and then stopped in the middle.
That is a rascal fade from Torreira. Is that more up your street than the goalkeeper?
No, obviously not.
Come on, Pat. You're a tough man to impress.
I think
he's a 23-year-old footballer.
I don't get this. I really don't get this.
It's just inviting pressure.
He's just inviting pressure. He's passing it just to give it back to him to just kick. I mean, all right, we've won it. But I don't understand it. If you're gonna, I know it's the new rule now where you can step in and play.
Yeah.
But you're standing next to the keeper. You wouldn't do that.
So you're not deploying that at Billericay, you know?
Nah. I mean, we ain't got the players. We're just, you know, edit, kick it, lump it, you know? Keep it simple.
You told me today that you represented a Sunday League team earlier on today and you scored an absolute worldie.
I scored a worldie today, mate.
How does it feel stepping on a pitch at a Sunday League game and just being the best player?
You know what it is?
I'll never experience.
Regardless of whatever level you're playing at, as soon as you're on a football pitch, you want to play well. You just want to have a kick about. And, you know, obviously I'm not going to play on like a bad pitch or anything, you know, but this Sunday League team is a friend of mine and he said, come down, because obviously I'm still trying to keep my fitness. And the pitch is unbelievable. It's lottery funded and, you know, it's like playing on White Hart Lane. So
I love that. So he gives you the call and you go, tell me about the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Describe the turf.
What's the carpet say?
He wants me to sign for him. I said, listen, like, I'll play the home games, but don't ever expect me to come to an away game.
Quality.
Jamie, one of your former clubs, Wolves, obviously had a 3-2 defeat earlier, but a lot of people picking up on that sort of second season syndrome, and they got the UEFA Cup.
Yeah.
It made...
Close him down.
Oh, Son. He loves those positions, doesn't he, as well?
Yeah, he's so good there.
Made some good signings, but it's a big commitment, isn't it, Thursday, Sunday?
It's a big, big commitment, and, you know, a lot of them will say, oh, no, we can handle it, we can deal with it. When you're playing, you know, Saturday, Thursday, it does take it out of you. Their season started when half the teams were still on holiday, you know, like, so it's not easy to keep going and keep getting the best out of the players. It makes your season, like, so long. And when I was at Spurs, you know, we was in Europa, and it was all about squad depth. You have to have, you know, the players. You have to have the players.
Right.
I don't think Wolves have.
You can't.
Is that Kolasinac?
He's atrocious.
Ooh.
Left back.
You saw quite a lot of minutes. He's not having it.
It's a terrible ball from
You saw quite a lot of minutes in the Europa League.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit derided by fans because they're obviously spoiled. These are fans that want Champions League football. But how did you find those kind of experiences in your formative years?
I loved it. Great experience. You know, travelling all over Europe, playing against good sides. And yeah, I mean, it was massive, and you know, the Tottenham team that I played in, for me, was probably one of the best Tottenham teams we had. You know, we had Modric, Bale, Berbatov, Keane, you know, Ledley King, Dawson.
What's it like training as a young midfielder of someone like Modric?
Yeah, Modric was unbelievable. He was on another planet, and when he first come in, he didn't get the sort of adulation that he gets now. You know, like, he wasn't proven. People didn't really know.
Oh my God!
Tell you what, it's great feet by Pepe there, by the way. But yeah,
he's so good.
He's a ballet dancer, isn't he?
Yeah. Come on.
You're just gonna. What are you doing?
What are we doing?
What did you learn from someone like Modric then?
What I learned with Modric was the way he was so good on the ball, where he protected the ball with his body. You know, he never gave the ball away. And if he put himself in trouble, he used his body so well to keep the ball. Yeah, he was a class act.
I mean, talk of using the ball well, Arsenal put together 2 or 3 really nice attacks here. Very pleasing on the eye.
What is Kolasinac doing? Just waiting for that to come to him.
And Sissoko has cleaned up somewhat, but Sanchez
has done all right there, to be fair.
He has. Sanchez finding a way, finding the ball to Sissoko with a very kind of precarious little dink, but.
We've just made this so much harder for ourselves
than
it needs to be.
Pressing relentlessly because they know you're vulnerable now for the next 10-15 minutes, right?
You know what's coming. You know, I've been in this situation. You know what's coming, and they will not stop now. They will not stop. Yeah. And, you know, they were dead and buried at 2-0, really. Now it's like they've got a good chance. Oh, my God. We've got to play this game like we've got to frustrate them. We've got to slow the game down, kill the tempo. You know, we've got to frustrate them.
Talking of frustrated, Dave.
Hey, that's actually spot on. It's like...
Way too much space there.
Come on.
Go on, you're in.
Oh, my God.
Nah, come on.
It's that final ball, we just can't...
David Luiz stepping in there. You've been impressed with the first 10 minutes, Dave?
It's a lot better than the whole of the first half, so yeah. But...
in a nutshell?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what the fans are saying then, Will.
Yeah, people just very happy and still debating what sort of changes are going to be next. I mean, are we still on board with the Ceballos coming on and sort of that midfield?
Fair, at least we're like playing better now. We're actually playing decent football now.
Anything happened to change your mind about Ceballos, Pat?
No, not really. Like I think Xhaka just always makes me fearful in these sorts of games. Like he can just split a defence, but he's guaranteed going to be a danger to us. I just think Ceballos will come on at some point probably in the next few minutes. What was weird last week was that the subs were so late against Liverpool. That was a real mistake, I think. You know, Lacazette getting 9 minutes in a game where you're admittedly 3 goals down, but even still, what are you going to do?
You used substitutions so well this season before as well. You actually had
hit that.
Hello.
What a
save, Hugo!
What a save.
Go on, what happened there, Will? Take us through the game, mate. Take us through
working the ball down. Maiden Niles has some good work down there. Torreira puts it across the Guendouzi, but it's a strong left hand from Lloris and puts it out for corner.
Maiden Niles has been good going forward again.
The other thing about Xhaka being on the pitch.
Oh my God!
Gwen's got left foot.
Tantalising ball across the 6-yard box. How's that not gone in?
It's like London buses at the back post.
Look at those gone.
I feel like Aubameyang here.
Just nodded across from the corner between the defenders and the
He took it off his foot. He took it off his foot.
Is that Lacazette? Because that is an excellent flick on. He turns a bang on.
Flick on near post.
He takes it off Aubameyang's foot.
That's a tap-in for someone.
Oh, inches. He
He's
turns a
defending that.
bang average corner there into it.
This is a fantastic.
It's a great save from
Strong
Leeds.
hand as well, isn't it?
Strong hand.
Aubameyang's actually getting me up there because. Kolasinac has nicked it off him, you know, and it's a great work header to. This was something you work on. That's not like just out of nowhere. They practiced that. You corner, near post, flick on, tap in for Aubameyang. Kolasinac is
not quite got those goal-scoring instincts at the back post,
Jamie?
but it's kind of playing out like you said, Jamie. It's the Alamo in his first 10 minutes, isn't it? Spurs having to ride their luck.
You know, like game management-wise now, like Arsenal fans are all up. They're all on. Is this where you'd like to, a bit of cramp, like feign an injury, and get them down?
Listen, this is game management now. You need to frustrate the other team. They want to play at a high tempo. They want to keep the ball moving. They want the relentless pressure.
Yeah.
Now is important. Is to slow it down, make the right substitution. Potter's got to make the right sub. One player goes down, maybe you just I feel that a little bit.
Yeah.
Just slow it down, kill the tempo, and regroup because at the moment it's all Arsenal. It's all Arsenal. I think we need to change the shape because they're just getting in wide areas too easy.
Well, we've spoke a lot about the next Arsenal substitution. So what's the next Spurs substitution then if you're looking to impact the game? As Pochettino.
I would look to put Lucas Moura on now, maybe, or Dele Alli can come on. I think we need to go to like a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-5-1. We're still playing this diamond, but we're getting exposed in wide areas. So I think you need to help out Sanchez and Rose and put on a winger. So it looks like Dele Alli's going to be coming on. Be interesting to see if he does change it.
He needs to be tip of the diamond.
Yes, Dele Alli either comes on as the tip of the diamond, or he changes it and leaves Harry Kane up front on his own, and play Dele Alli in the 10 and put Eriksen on the left and Son on the right, or Eriksen on the right, Son on the left. It's going to be interesting to see. I just think in wide areas we're getting hurt in a minute, and we need to help out the back four.
A bit more help at the base of the field. OK. Well, let's see how it fares. How it pans out even when on the pitch. It's looking pretty imminent. Son there, giving a little cheeky smile to that. You can't dislike Son.
Nah.
One of the most likeable men in football.
It's just
lovely.
Go on.
Oh, Harry! Oh,
what
a
an
shot!
effort!
What a chance!
I'm not quite sure how he's done that with the inside of his foot.
Unbelievable effort. 1-2 in the box.
He's on as well.
Eriksen slips him in. He's
What's
unbelievable.
Jamie, describe
angle.
the effort.
Rubbish.
Yeah, so it's come across him. He's
it's not
and
the
he's just
inside of his
struck it
foot.
clean, laces, but he's tried to fade it into the far corner. It's smashed into the post. It's a great effort.
Oh, is that
a dreadful player.
Maybe a little dent in Arsenal's confidence? Get Spurs going again, that kind of... Well, he's turned that...
This is a big sub.
He's turned a half chance into a chance there, hasn't he?
Yeah. That was a great play inside the box. 1-2, Eriksen again making things happen.
Obscene angle.
This is important now. Dele Alli to come on, get him back in. He's going to now break the lines, He's going to stretch Arsenal. He can hurt them. There's a big sub.
So the League Cup, he scored that nice little dink over the...
It was a great goal.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Breaking the lines, though.
There's Lane.
To be fair, Ali always seems to have a good game against Arsenal.
He enjoys that sort of atmosphere. That sort of antagonistic player that you were talking about, isn't he? A player who would, quite happily slow the play up by deploying some dark arts.
Who's that? Socrates? Why is he up the pitch? What is he doing up there?
Great bit of play there.
Leave the ball, let the right back have it. Just get back in position.
Come on.
Stupid.
Contrasting emotions on the couch over there. I mean, a lot of the words stupid.
No,
Have we got any
like,
intelligent comments, though?
No.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, we've spoken about Eriksen and Vertonghen today, and obviously, Jamie, you're speaking about how important they are to stay, but do you believe they will stay with...
Hello.
With the day left of the European window?
Yeah, I don't think they're going anywhere now. I think...
Is that because more of Levy as well? Just his...
I think Dele... Dele's giving it away there in midfield. I just think they had that clear the air chat. I think that they needed...
No chance.
Come on.
Well, it was clutching at straws.
Pochettino's complaints seem to be less so about things behind the scenes and more so about other clubs unsettling his players, right? Because he mentioned the transfer window closing. So do you think that's what it is, particularly Christian Eriksen?
Hit that, man on.
Hit that earlier.
Oh, yeah, go on, 1v1. 1v1. Go on in. Go down. Do something.
This referee is a top form, mate. I tell you. Star man.
My worry.
That's why you got to hurt them there.
My worry is that Unai Emery thinks Torreira is actually a box-to-box midfielder. Like, whenever you see us have a chance, look and see where Torreira is. Like, and he's quite often like in the box or setting it up, and he actually set up that Guendouzi chance, and it's a bit worrying given that he's a defensive midfielder. That is what he is. That's what he's good at.
Oh dear,
I do not understand.
And he's very, very good at that as well, isn't he? He's very, very good at that.
Well, exactly, and yet he's always like running forward, and it's because Xhaka can't really play anywhere. Though I wonder if it's a little bit he's going to be filling in at left back.
Tried to stab him. What's going on?
It was quite odd to see him come on against Liverpool, and you think, okay, he's been brought on to shore things up, and he was there for kind of that opportunistic strike, wasn't he?
To be fair, he does shore it up as well. Like he presses so hard, but you want to. His position. I think maybe, I was thinking this before, maybe the reason that Xhaka's playing is because Monreal isn't here, and so you're seeing Xhaka actually drop into the left-back spot when Kolasinac gets forward, so maybe that was part of the thinking as well.
Okay, which utilised Kolasinac' attacking instincts, which weren't great last season, were they? He's generated a lot of chances for his team.
He's got to give him a kick there. He should have given him a kick.
This is where we are.
Look at Winks. Look at this.
Ref, come on.
Who's that? Lacazette.
It's a good foul. You know what? That's a clever foul, because that's 4v2 there.
Lacazette has been great since the interval, actually. Really, really good.
Oh,
he's pulled up.
It looks like he might be coming off though, Patrice, which would be pretty devastating for Arsenal.
Really
because
Aubameyang down the middle though.
He's been extremely prominent in the second half, hasn't he?
Maybe he just got a sign.
11.
That's
Why is Torreira coming off?
Hey?
Interesting.
Okay, no one anticipated.
It's a massive half an hour for Guendouzi here, isn't it? He's going to be
the thing is, Ceballos can play as a defensive midfielder as well. Like, that's actually where he played a lot of the time for Spain.
I think that's a poor change.
I'd change him for Xhaka, but at least Ceballos is a good defender.
No Arsenal players been booked yet, have they?
Not like sure if Torreira's fully fit
just got booked, no?
Yeah, that's our first booking. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't think anyone is anticipating that change, were they? Fascinating to see how this plays out and where Ceballos actually...
They've changed the formation, though, Tottenham, which I'm comfortable about. It looks like now Son's gone out to the right. Sissoko's got in midfield, so Sanchez is going to get the help now.
So that kind of double pivot you were talking about before,
yeah? I mean, listen, this is why I'm a gaffer, do you know what I mean? Just get it right. Just get it right.
Have you ever made a substitution and it's just instantly been to the detriment of the team and you thought, what have I done?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
There's no quitting game there, is there?
Yeah, I mean, you make mistakes, and that's what part of, you learn more as a coach or manager when you make mistakes, so it's all a learning curve. But yeah, in games like this is why they're at the top of the trade, because you have to make the right decisions in the big moments.
Is there a temptation do you have to refrain from getting too involved in the game and making kind of premature changes?
Yeah.
Like a half-time change is a pretty bold move.
Yeah. I'm very quick to be like, let's change it. Let's change it. But you have to be patient sometimes.
I suppose the players have got to feel they've got time to get it right after getting it wrong.
Yeah,
right, if that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, Ceballos making an instant impact there, just turning someone inside out, and here he is in the ball yet again.
This is perfect game for him, though, isn't it? Like last week, he was kind of a bit lost and coming on.
Oh, what an effort! He looks up for this, doesn't he? Come on, he's got a chance to make himself an Arsenal legend here.
Well, he's the midfielder we have who's actually good enough to get into Spurs.
Jamie
It's
O'Hara
weird
giving
not
me
playing.
a little side glance there as if to say he's going to have a lot to say about this second half in the next bit.
This is what it was like at the under-21 Euros.
I
just
don't know
pinging
why
it.
he didn't start the game.
Yeah.
I mean, but it could be a masterstroke again from Unai Emery really to use him as an impact because he's come on and instantly you're thinking he's going to have a big say on this game.
Unai Emery's
a great hit.
changes last season in midfield because Arsenal got a lot of goals from midfield, didn't they? In Xhaka, in Ramsey,
later on as well,
in
right,
Ozil last campaign. It tend to be very good, and it looks like it might be the case again here. But he's just a very good player.
Where's the VR, mate? Look at the VR.
Socrates needs to calm down.
Did you catch much of him at the under-21s pack? Because it looked like he was playing with a bunch of 8-year-olds and he was just like absolutely butchering them.
Well, I mean, the Spanish midfield is obscene. It's like it's Fabian Ruiz and Ceballos, and Ceballos was just doing what he wanted. But I mean, it's the interesting thing is that Ceballos, of course, was linked with Spurs for a long time. Pochettino wanted to get him, I think, when he was at Betis, but obviously I think he had his heart set on Real Madrid. And then they looked into loaning him, but I think the reason they didn't was because of no option to buy. So, I don't know. It's
what is Sanchez doing?
What's he done there?
Well,
what a stupid thing to do.
It might, the inability to secure a player like that might come back to Pochettino.
That is horrific.
Coming in with through.
Who's that?
It's a bit of bad luck there.
Coming in.
Son bursting through down the right-hand side here. I've got to say,
that's great defending from
David Luiz.
I mean, this game is on an absolute knife edge. I'm enjoying the tension, on either side.
What's he bringing Mkhitaryan on for?
Big fan there, Dave. Obviously, he's going to make a big impact.
Of course,
He's not a bad player, but this is the wrong thing for him. We're playing well now.
inexplicably making Dion
Is that
Dublin's
for
combined
and he's injured. Yeah, he's injured.
Lacazette's injured, so he has to make the
Put
change.
Willock on. Like,
So
it's
Mkhitaryan
stupid.
made Dion Dublin's combined XI for the North London derby. I just thought that was fascinating. Big Dion.
Why wouldn't you put Ozil on? I know
He's ill.
he's ill.
No,
He's on the bench.
warming up. He was warming up.
He's on the bench.
In the preview, it said that he was a doubt because he was ill. So
Yeah,
he,
but he was a
have,
doubt, but he's on the bench.
he might have
Even
come, but
Ozil,
he's still got the
anything
snivels apparently.
But we've still got a stub. We can bring Ozil on if we're still in this situation.
Mkhitaryan's still a big player.
Yeah, I agree.
He'll defend as well.
Yeah, but they don't need
Mkhitaryan
to
winner.
defend. They're losing 2-1.
I don't know. We do need our front line to do more defensive work. Like Lacazette's the only one who really does much.
The Arsenal fans are a little bit more positive in the comments that Ceballos has come on.
Yeah, people just still a lot of debate around the formation and the changes being made. Obviously, Spurs have still got a few to make, and obviously Arsenal have got one left. So, lots of debate on systems, formations, and players coming
What
on.
we like to hear.
Oh, God,
Okay, you got any questions for us?
Here comes a shot.
Yes, I have.
Great.
Go on, mate. Field me an absolute world.
Pick someone out.
What's up?
Well,
No, we don't need Giroud anymore.
very difficult to get a question in here because it's resumed end to end.
Need my inhaler. I haven't got asthma. One for Jamie. English midfielders. Obviously, we're talking a lot about young, up-and-coming talent.
Yeah.
Mason Mount, James Maddison, even Chowdhury at Leicester as well. Who for you, sort of the pick of the bunch? Grealish.
I think, not Grealish for me. I don't think he's good enough to get in that team at the minute. I don't think he's good enough to get in the squad. Mason Mount looks really exciting. Really like him. I think Harry Winks, for me, is going to be a big player for England.
Do you think he gets underrated just because you were talking earlier? He just does the simple stuff and
he
keeps the
keeps
ball.
it simple, but he doesn't give the ball away. And he's good. He's sharp.
He's an excellent distributor
His
as well.
tempo, his distribution of the ball is brilliant. I think he's going to be a very big player for England. I think he should be starting more.
Do you think we underestimate that role in this country? I think we've spoken about it on shows before, and we were like, Carrick never got the adulation that he probably deserved.
Got an
but
awful
Harry
lot of
Winks-
caps though still, but
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, Carrick, for me, was the reason why Man United dominated for so many years, because he was the start of everything. He was the start of everything, and he makes things happen. That player is so important because you can play through teams with that player on the pitch, and for me, it's one of the most important players.
And then they had Carrick. Like there was a pass over.
Wow, the raw pace.
Yeah, Mkhitaryan needs to get in the gym.
Sanchez has absolutely floored Mkhitaryan.
I mean, Hugo Lloris has probably had the most touches of the Spurs side in the second half. They use him so much. But I'll tell you what, there's another one as well, Phil Foden. He doesn't play. He doesn't play enough,
it's a bit
and he
strange,
won't get in that team because they're that good.
Yeah.
But Foden, for me, is probably England's brightest prospect because he's unbelievable. You know, but because he's at Man City, you're not seeing him.
Not Sancho, sorry, Sanchez.
Sancho?
Yeah, Jadon Sancho at Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah. I mean, he's broken now. You know, he's playing. You know, he's again for me is another fantastic player. Be interesting to see who he starts and how he plays in the upcoming games.
With Phil Foden, obviously Pep's come out and said that he doesn't want him going out on loan.
No,
he's not had the game time yet. It's a long season. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. But when you're a player of his quality, in the end, you're going to be like, I need to play football. I need to be starting games. You know, he should be starting week in, week out in the Premier League. Not for Man City because they're so good.
No, but
if he doesn't want him to go to another Premier League team.
What an unlikely goal!
Get in!
Aubameyang getting on to the end of the ball from Guendouzi, was it there?
Yeah. Let's go for the win now, boys!
Oh, take us through this goal then, Pat, because I was listening to
Guendouzi,
Jamie,
lovely ball, whipped in, and a lovely little flick from Aubameyang. Sorry, Patrick.
No, cheers, Jeff.
Go on, Dave.
Absolutely no danger.
Go on, off you go.
No, absolutely no danger here. Guendouzi just kind of going for a little wander.
Lovely run from Aubameyang.
Clips it in, and Aubameyang gets between the two centre-backs. No one picks him up just enough.
Get in!
I actually feel a bit sorry for Hugo Lloris, because while he hasn't been good with his feet today, he's actually made some fantastic saves.
You know what?
What's happened from a Spurs perspective?
That's a great finish, you know.
It's a lovely run, bang.
It was a blessing that Lacazette got injured. I'm telling you, because Aubameyang needs to play down the centre of the pitch because he does that.
True.
That's what he does. And him playing on the left, he doesn't affect the game enough. He makes them runs off the back of people that Lacazette doesn't make.
You can't. Difficult. Yeah.
Look, as much as Vertonghen probably hasn't. He scored there at Aubameyang, and Vertonghen hasn't even seen him.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why he's so good there at Aubameyang. But should get tighter. It's all too easy for Arsenal playing in front. You know, and giving them time on the ball.
I mean, it's business as usual for him. That's his 7th goal against Tottenham. 3rd for Arsenal, so he's making a habit of it, isn't he?
See you later.
Go on.
And and this is feeling a bit ominous now. But before we get to Spurs potentially bottling this, let's not jump to any conclusions. Let's go. Let's go to the latest price boost then. Oh, now that Dave, I'm hearing it's changed now.
So good.
I'm hearing it's changed because the goals just impacted it. So we'll sort a fresh one out for you guys and come back to it in a couple of minutes.
Oh,
that's fine.
Atkinson again.
Get him off.
It's unbelievable. Rigged.
That goal in the first half to make it 2-1 absolutely killed us. It killed us. It's because we were so comfortable.
Yeah.
And against Arsenal at the Emirates, and the second half is going to be relentless. It's going to be relentless, and we haven't got out our own half.
And is that kind of unorthodox? I say unorthodox to us, the fans. That substitution kind of helped proceedings because you've got. I suppose he's a little bit more advanced than Torreira was. Although you did note that Torreira was kind of playing box to box. You've got just another body in there to help progress the ball up the pitch.
I think Ceballos is actually playing as the deepest midfielder. Like, is Xhaka still on?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him, which actually is a good thing.
It's a good thing.
I suppose since Mkhitaryan's come on, he's a little bit more advanced than Ceballos, isn't he?
Yeah, Ceballos just seems to be on the ball constantly. But yeah, hopefully we can actually push on and get this, because Emery is often too conservative. But that said, Spurs can still get between the lines pretty easily.
That's what I'm worried about, yeah.
But Nicolas Pepe, I would like to see him get isolated against Danny Rose, who is still booked, and yet we haven't seen him take him on at all.
Oh.
Pickle Nick.
This doesn't.
Guendouzi been fantastic second half.
No, he's losing that.
I mean, Tottenham have actually offered very, very little second half.
Harry Winks.
Is it time for that?
He's been booked as well.
Dele Alli's come on. Do you look to the bench again?
Yeah, I think Lucas Moura is going to have to come on. You know, look, we haven't been good second half. I'm telling you now, as a player, that goal in the first half kills you. It genuinely kills you because you're thinking, for Christ's sake, we're comfortable. Now they know what's happening. So straight away, your instincts are, you sit back.
Do you think
and you're just leading it on, you're leading it on.
First half. It's because they played so well.
Yeah, we did play well in the first half, but I think Arsenal have been in this game from the start.
Xhaka.
Oh,
trademark Xhaka boom there.
What? Don't let it go out for a corner. What? Oh yeah, so good to have a. I'm sorry, everyone's in the box already. Like this idea, let's shepherd it out for a corner. Corners are not that useful. Like, it's just
spin on it.
And we missed that for the replay. OK, it's down the left-hand side with Arsenal. I'm seeing a few shakes of my head from Jamie in my peripheral vision. It feels like an Arsenal goal is imminent. What are the fans saying? Are they feeling it too, Will?
Arsenal fans have gone a 4-1, 80.
What is Sanchez
Good
doing?
defending.
Full 360.
What is Sanchez?
This is exactly like last season as
Double
well.
180 as it's called in
By the way,
business.
levelled it up at 2-2 in the second half through Aubameyang.
Yeah.
In fact, even Son won the penalty that day for Kane. It's very similar.
Glitch in the matrix, mate. What are the fans saying? I mean,
Pick someone up.
No one's there.
Arsenal's midfield is bearing down on Spurs time and time again.
That's a bit I'm worried about, though.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which means there is still a massive gap between the defence and midfield, right? Because you are overloading, but at least you're not being conservative. Like you just kind of said, that's Unai Emery's downfall sometimes, right? He's going for the 3 points.
All I want is just to get it right, mate. Like, it's not that hard, is it?
Socrates versus like Son on the
Don't
counter.
point out the contradictions of what I've said.
Spurs fans
It's not
are.
kosher. I'm a guest.
Corner, come on, Pat. We love a corner, mate.
I'm all
Come
about
on.
Jamie, you're right there.
We just look like we're waiting to get beat.
I get the way you keep going back to that goal before half-time, the regret is just tangible.
No, it's like, if I'm a manager,
he's so deflated.
If I'm a manager, I'm leaving Danny Rose out the next game. Because that just kills you. It kills you.
You're like a half-deflated balloon after a birthday party at the moment.
I feel like I'm genuinely. It's just like, oh God, this is painful to watch.
Can fill them back up, Jamie, though.
What is that?
How many balloons have you filled back up?
Well, if you get helium, you can.
Everywhere.
I'll tell you what, Guendouzi's been unbelievable in the second half.
Yeah, he's winning the ball back in really good positions.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. It looked like there was a bit of an overload there.
Oh.
Danny Ceballos, his legs are too long for his
Chip
body.
one up, another corner. We love a corner. What a game.
Hair's too long for his hairstyle. Discuss. Absolutely too long for what he's trying to do with it there.
The front of it's very abstract. It looks a little bit Picasso, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really Moran.
If you've gone with a pattern, I think you have a shorter on top. That's just my opinion. Get involved. TFS, all the important
There's a lot of
discussions.
quiffs on TFS.
Everyone
right
round there. No, everyone's got a
quiff central.
I was watching the.
Striker! Oh, God! Oh, net buster! Pepe's gone for it.
How far wide and over do you think?
That goes in.
Take your time.
That's what.
I'll tell you what.
Is
that for 70 million quid you got it to target? I'm sorry. You're
He has
18
rushed at that.
yards.
What,
You're
snapshot
18
after a corner?
Yeah, but
Is there a price tag
15
for it?
yards of space. You got it to target. I expect a goal there.
Are you going to start digging out the Arsenal players because you feel like the winning goal is coming?
What the hell is happening?
Fair play.
Guendouzi again. You're fantastic, man.
His hair's got longer. And he's got more powerful.
The decision to keep him on, Dave, justified?
Fantastic. I said it.
You're not under. You know, this isn't a question.
Oh, dipstick, come on.
We are offering.
Dipstick.
We are offering
Oh, red! Oh, he's gone.
It's a straight red.
Gone, surely.
I keep forgetting who's
Has he been
booked.
booked? No, Sanchez
No,
been
he's
booked,
not.
has he?
Spurs players that have been booked: Rose, Winks, Lamella, Eriksen.
I love the point. Like he doesn't know.
How long's Mkhitaryan been on for now? I feel like Ceballos' impact is kind of
67th
getting
minute
over
he
the
came
fact
on.
he's done
10,
not much yet.
10.
5, 10.
What are you talking about?
Son's coming off.
Mkhitaryan, I thought that was Mkhitaryan coming on. Good 10. This is the only football social I think I've been on where 3-3 could be on.
No pace left on though.
Son's to give us nothing today, to be fair. You know, he's got in good positions on the pitch to make things happen. He had a good chance in the first half, which, you know, it was a good save.
But he gets you chances inside the box, right? He's had a couple in very good positions.
Yeah, he got in good positions today, but he hasn't, you know, produced.
He's not done his kind of trademark take the game by the scruff of the neck, which he normally does when Harry Kane's had a quiet game.
Let's have it right.
Listen, you know.
Come on, pick someone out.
He was gifted.
Come on!
Hold on, Dave, hold on. Oh, God, get the camera on him.
Get the VAR.
Unai Emery's buzzing. Socrates.
Has he stopped it before?
Socrates thinks he's scored the winner. It's been flagged for offside, I think.
What's the point of having VAR? I thought you were supposed to let the play on.
Watch this.
Injustice.
VAR will watch this.
Oh, he's off.
He's onside. It's the one across the box.
Okay, so we're going to VAR.
He's offside. He's
The
offside.
Microsoft Paint lines are coming out.
Yeah, he's offside.
He's convincingly
Great,
offside.
good one. Cool.
No real need for the little shoulder, the little lines from the shoulder there, because
Unbelievable.
Kolasinac is a good 2
Tell
yards
you what,
offside.
That's a good spot from the lino, that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it goes to VAR anyway, but that's a good spot. He's right across
he's
the other
kept his
side
flag
of the
down,
pitch.
to be fair.
No,
he hasn't put
good.
it out.
Yeah, great.
It feels like it's still coming though.
It's imminent.
Dave, you've had
imminent
your
is a
moment.
choice
Hold on a
word.
minute. Can we just get something right here? Are you all Arsenal fans?
No, he's a Birmingham fan.
I'm content.
And
The way he's all
plastic
screaming
everything.
when Arsenal score.
I'm an Arsenal fan. He's an
Because
Arsenal fan.
goals mean views, Jamie. All right, that's why we're screaming.
Any more of you jumping up and down, I'm off.
I think that was the first knee slide we've seen on the football
1%.
social, to be honest.
And it's wasted.
Dave Jackson. He's had that in the bank for a year and a half.
Aggressive.
And it's been disallowed.
Oh no, come on.
Right,
Yeah,
let's
I
have
know,
some
right?
questions, Will, to give this last 10 minutes a bit of
What the
structure.
hell's happening here?
Stupid!
I'm all over the
Plays
place.
so well, he's just give away cheap free kicks.
I could totally see a Spurs set piece.
It's happening, isn't it? What's
yeah.
his name? Yunus Kabul, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Nick it at the death. I'll tell you
Yunus
what.
Kabul.
I'll be up with you, Jamie.
Absolute disgrace.
You could 3D Dave
this.
through the
Look
table.
at those Spurs
I
fans,
tried to
honestly.
celebrate away from you. I didn't.
Dreadful.
I had my head in my hands, mate. I didn't even see the knee slide.
Horrible bunch.
Is it good to
Mate,
slide on this floor?
This is solid concrete.
I was going to say, yeah.
This is a chance. This is what I'm worried about. This is a
Yeah,
massive chance.
I'm worried here.
I mean, Christian Eriksen standing over this free kick in a very dangerous
This
position.
is a massive chance.
Wide left.
I'll tell you what, he's got good delivery
This
as
is a
well.
massive chance.
I am
Aim for
sitting
the
down,
far post.
and we all witness it now.
He's got to beat the first man.
Actually,
Hasn't
quite
even
bad.
beat the first man. Is he
Run.
winding me up?
I mean, when you've not generated a decent chance in 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, red!
Another one, quality.
Get him in the book. He's off.
Is he?
No, he's not had a yellow yet.
The thing is, we're actually playing really well now.
Has he had a yellow?
It's just-
No. How's Lacazette
This is
the only
good for
Arsenal
us.
player
We
with a
need
yellow?
this is the first spell we've had actually in the second
so
half where we
good.
actually look
So
like
good
we've come
from
back
ourselves.
into it.
That is 100% a yellow card.
Yeah.
Did
Did
it
he
doesn't
get
feel
booked?
like it's his first. I'm not quite sure.
Has he been
It doesn't
booked?
appear so.
No, it hasn't been booked.
I don't know how.
William just saying there that Lacazette is the only Arsenal player to get booked so far, which feels
Don't
not-
foul
and
him
he's not on the
properly.
pitch.
Don't do
which
anything
feels
stupid.
wrong.
Come on, this is another big chance, man.
This
Back
is that
post.
many
This
fouls.
has got a Harry Kane winner written all over it.
You reckon?
Tell you. You're going to nick it at the death. Shut all these Spurs fans, all these Arsenal fans up.
Go on in! What has happened to make Spurs fans so confident? You sound like a Man United fan, where they just genuinely believe they will win every game.
Yeah, because
But
we're
you're rubbish.
established.
You've been rubbish for years.
Yeah, but we're established. If we're rubbish, what are our...
Good for about the last 4 years, but as in like, have those years been enough to undo all the kind of like disappointment
Well,
of
you're
the
only
50
as good
years
as your last
before?
game, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? And we, over the last seasons, we've been way better than Arsenal.
I mean,
If you're only
hopefully
good
not
as
your
your
last
last
game
game.
against
Well,
Newcastle, but it's
Newcastle, no.
definitely an improvement on that.
That would
picture.
explain actually why both teams have been so porous,
Lovely
given that
ball.
both teams lost their
Poch
last
instills the
game.
confidence in you, doesn't he? You know, he instills it in the fans. Sanchez is having it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Kolasinac, who I almost go to call Koscielniak, because that's who
Kolasinac.
Dave rechristened him as.
Kolasinac
Kolasinac has
looks
got the
like Roberto
freedom,
Carlos.
freedom of the Emirates down that left-hand side.
Look at him.
Look at the space he's in.
Look at the space he's getting.
What a knock.
I mean, I could play there.
Oh, Mkhitaryan, well
No,
played,
come
son.
on, you're never going to get that amount of time.
I think we should just have pandemonium. No organisation on this show for the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Oh, come on. That is the
Just
soft ball.
sloppy.
If he doesn't get
Xhaka
Xhaka
again, he should be off.
that's one of
Atkinson.
them. One over here, one over here. That's your fourth.
It's
You're
a
in.
definite foul. Stupid.
1, 2, 3. Has he still not been booked?
Oh dear, Ceballos.
Oh, come
That
on.
feels unnecessary.
It also feels like Dele Alli pretending he's
buy
been
it.
fouled.
Come on, Arsenal.
they're probably two of the scrappiest players in the Prem there, Ceballos and Ali.
I think with Ceballos, he just needs to wait out the back of the criff there because he's got
Yeah.
too much. He just needs it thinned
Or
out.
he needs it thinned here, yeah, so
Yeah.
it lies flatter. Couldn't agree more.
Maybe he'd be a better player.
You know what? A good place to be that, Will, having a thick head of hair.
I'm very lucky. Yeah, I just got Grays at 28. So who's the real winner?
Distinguished,
You are
though, so
distinguished.
Thanks, mate.
Silver Fox. Right.
Oh God, I actually can't breathe. I don't know if it's the 2 coffees or.
The asthma that you've developed during today's
Yeah.
show.
I might have to see a doctor after this.
Yeah, the 2 coffees never spells it.
We really are targeting that area quite a lot.
Yeah, because look.
What has happened there?
Oh, I mean, that's
That was dangerous from whoever
Why
put
is he
that
shot?
tackle in.
lovely ball. Well played, Xhaka. Switched it out. To the right. Nicholas Pepe there.
That not
Could have made
take-
himself a hero
That
last
not
minute.
take a deflection, he just hit that wide.
Two
So,
big chances. The chance of Mkhitaryan there is such a bad
Dave,
tackle.
who
could've won
who
a
came
penalty.
flying in
Yeah.
here? Who came flying
How
in here?
is he playing for Tottenham? I mean,
You think if Sergio Aurel's even got...
That's a sensation.
If he actually meant that,
Absolutely
I'd
get him off.
No, Jamie, no sympathy for Sanchez playing out of position then, no?
No, because if you obviously rate yourself to play.
You've
You
got a
said
right
to the
back on the
gaffer, you're
bench.
comfortable to play there.
What are Spurs' other options, though?
Sergio Aurier.
Keep Trippier.
Oh, Skip. Skip can play there.
I don't know much about Skip or Troy Parrott, by the way, which is one of the best names in
It's a
football at the
made-up
moment.
player.
Is that Johnson?
Troy Parrott.
Troy Parrott is.
What a sporting family that would
foul.
be. Here we go. Kick off. Yeah, come on! Come on!
This is what we've been missing.
This is what... Oh, bottle. Oh, it's in a fist.
The Socrates, don't you think
Here we
stupid?
go. Don't
He's been
condone
fouled,
it.
though, hasn't he?
Don't condone it, but love to see it.
Took the
It's
words
the only
right out of
proper
my mouth
fixture
with him,
left,
to be
isn't it,
honest.
this
When the
game?
fun stops, you should definitely stop.
Guaranteed this goes down as like a Spurs free kick or something.
It's good for Tottenham.
Yeah,
It's
this
just
does
wasted
feel counterproductive for Arsenal, doesn't it? I don't quite know what started this
Don't
off.
you think
but
stupid? Get him
Socrates
back.
dropping in the nut.
Dave, what's happened there? What's kicked things off?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know what Socrates is doing up the pitch. It's stupid.
Trying to win a header.
Yeah, on the floor.
No,
Idiot.
by head, but little.
Just
Overlapping
again. The
centre-backs,
thing is,
the
you
Chris
see,
Wilder.
the second half. We played so well. So just get back to football.
AR for this, for any little...
No, it's not just little.
Oh, little to you, Dave, but someone could have been hurt.
Handbags. Get on with the game.
You'd like to be out there for that, Jamie.
Would like to see
like
that bottle in super slow motion.
Yeah.
Let's see what brand it is. Could be good product placement, that. But
For VAR, you could get the old...
If you're going to put him, sure he's got to put Winks as well.
No, Winks didn't do nothing wrong.
He's all giving it all that.
I hate all that. Oh, yeah, but he's going to book him, let's book the other player. Why? He was the one being an idiot.
Let's just send them all off.
And Xhaka is still
taking
the yellow card.
a sting out.
Yeah, this is good for us. They've wasted 2 minutes.
Taking a sting out of Arsenal's
There's
resurgence.
no yellow card offence in this whole thing. I don't understand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Spurs players booked at the moment. One of them's off the pitch.
So we've got a yellow card update from Will. What was that? 5 players?
Yeah, five yellow cards.
4
6 in
active
total.
players.
Yeah,
Excellent. Excellent.
that's what I'm here for.
Right, 5 minutes left then, guys. Get your comments in because we will be fielding into the guys at full time. Dave can't help himself at this point. And if you're not subscribed, then click subscribe. Will, any questions waiting in the wings?
My standout comment from the day so far is, do you think Arsenal should have kept Montreal, which is a fantastic land grab by the club, the Canadian capital, I believe.
I mean, it was in the Guardian's top 10 cities to go to.
Exactly. Fantastic low crime rate there. TFS, who is your one to watch the season? So let's get out of that top 6 and then look at the teams that have got players that maybe don't get the spotlight.
Oh my God.
It's just too much going on, Chris.
Massively overhit that.
Just too much
to
going
watch
on.
this season was that.
Yeah, who are we talking about? We've had a chat to James Madison so far.
For what? Players outside?
Yeah, outside the top 6 ones to watch.
Buendia and Cantwell at Norwich both look really good.
Cantwell's had a great start to the season.
Yeah,
Should've scored
local
yesterday.
21 years old. Yeah, I think he was born 20 minutes or so from the stadium. But Buendia last season in the Championship, like you look at his numbers and you think this is a central midfielder, like loads of ball progression, loads of creativity, but also led the team in tackles, except for maybe Tom Trouble. But then he's a creative winger. He's just an incredibly hard worker. I mean, it's great. So
Make it count.
I think he's got a really bright future.
Have a dick.
Oh, that is a vital interception there by your boy David Luiz. And I read a similar article, 24 defensive pressures a game.
Cool.
Buendia. I thought you, of all people, would have appreciated that.
Yeah.
Because that was an absolutely obscene number.
I'm not
across
enjoying
Europe.
anything.
Just for all that.
Mate me.
All them there, though, like Campbell, Aarons, Lewis. What's going on?
Holding his ball. His lucky ball.
Should sign that, Dave.
Shouldn't it?
So Mitres very nostalgic.
Oh,
God.
Other ball sponsors are very
Oh, and he's got to walk for
Tell
that.
you what would be great now. If we
Don't you
get
think
a pen from
stupid?
someone being
Yeah, don't you think
stupid.
stupid? Just leave him. It's stupid.
I mean, don't leave him, but...
You've got the VAR now. You can't get away with that.
Pieces have been terrible.
I mean, much to Arsenal's credit, they have limited Tottenham to set pieces in the second half, but...
Yeah, but
not
if
so
you're going
good.
to make them count, you've got to beat the first man, you know? We've hit the first man.
Oh my God.
Oh, come on.
This is
Feels
all right.
like Dele Alli could have a little... You know, when he's in. Yeah.
It does feel like we've still got a big moment left. Who is with me? Let's have, let's hope there's one more goal, guys.
I'm surprised Lucas Moura's not come on.
Yeah,
I'm
especially
really
for that counter.
surprised. You know, like he would have hurt him on the counter, and he's an impact substitution.
To be fair, the last 5 minutes...
I think they've run out of steam here, Arsenal.
How many minutes do you reckon we're good? We've got to have a good 4.
That's just not what you do.
Yeah, I'd have thought so.
I mean, after a very kind of intense 20 minutes from Arsenal, it does feel like it's letting up a little bit now. The people in the comments, or the YouTube comments, are they kind of settling for a draw here now?
Fantastic username. Croissant Power says last minute Socrates own goal.
Of course not.
It's just very split down the middle at the moment. People still talking about the defensive frailties of.
Played.
Go on! Go on!
Are you serious?
Go on! Go yourself!
Spurs are broke then here down the left-hand side. It's 2-on-1.
Defending.
Should have shot.
David Luiz there on Kane was fantastic.
Sissoko rebounded.
I mean, Sissoko
Trying to feed Kane. He's carried the ball well, but Jamie's.
He gets a
final
nosebleed
ball
in that
down.
area, doesn't he?
Come on.
Sissoko just gets a nosebleed in that area.
Come on.
Go on,
Look at Mkhitaryan! Can he?
Henry.
Don't foul.
Good
Still
defending.
playing.
It's first time.
He looked very
Good
laboured there.
That looks like a bit of a foul, to be honest.
Now we go.
Go on, go win it. Go win it.
All right, just as we thought this thing had been taken out of the game, it's become end-to-end again.
Go on.
Go on. Go on.
No, Dele Alli wanted that. He wanted it.
Then he's sure he's got to be booked.
Martin loves it.
Sure he's got to be booked.
That's a foul, no?
I thought he was looking for that.
I thought it was a foul.
I think he's off. Oh, he's gone.
I don't think that was a foul.
But even if you're looking for it, it can still be a foul.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't won the ball.
But I don't know. I haven't actually seen whether there's any contact.
Sanchez looks dead on his feet.
was pretty close.
Sanchez looks dead on his feet.
Good.
5 minutes of injury time,
Don't
guys.
shoot.
Plenty of
Any
drama.
danger of anyone getting forward on the right? No.
Left to come.
There it is. There it is.
Go on, Nick it.
Mkhitaryan's done nothing. He's useless.
What an outburst.
I mean, he should be off the pitch. Is that Xhaka again? He should be off the pitch.
not
That's
been
3 times that
here
he
we
should have
go.
been booked.
Oh, come on.
First one. That could be a red.
And just Arsenal's second yellow all day, is that right?
No,
Will?
Third, Lacazette as well.
Yellow card corner.
Let me just
Nah, 3 of them.
That's the third one, yeah.
Third.
Papadopoulos got one as well.
Yeah. No.
Surely Ozil could do a better job than Mkhitaryan. He's just
Yeah, he's got a
Even if
cold.
he has got the sniffles. Yeah.
Or Reece Nelson.
anyone.
So be a bit fast.
Yeah, but certainly Serge can do a better job than David Sanchez.
No.
No?
What we're doing here?
I don't know. I feel like given the raw materials that Poch has worked wonders with fullbacks in the past. Like the players he turned Trippier and Davies into.
They had like 4 first team starters, like 2 left backs and 2 right backs for about 2 seasons.
Yeah, and Trippier I never particularly rated until he went to Spurs. And
Go on, step in. Step in.
Where's Kane? He
Granit
looks
Xhaka looks absolutely exhausted.
Why don't
and all from fouling people.
You thought he'd make one more sub, Pochettino, just for energy-wise, no?
Sometimes you know,
keep it.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to leave it. This ain't a bad result.
They're just going to wait and
This is
try
a
and
good
swing
result.
it in.
Who's going to be... OK, out of you guys,
weird,
who's happy with the draw? Obviously Spurs away from home, but you have thrown away the lead. Who do you think is going to be the happiest side if this finishes 2? I don't want to tempt fate, William.
Hell of a ball. There's one more chance in this game.
Pepe!
Sanchez is not there. Sanchez
That's not
has
who you
gone.
want carrying the ball
We
there,
will screw
Pepe.
this up. Horrible ball.
I mean, for 70 million quid, I want to be seeing a lot more than what he's been giving. I'm going to be honest.
Turn. Here we go.
Go on, put Dele in.
Here we go.
Go on, Dele.
Oh my God.
Oh, made it nice.
And it's gone straight back down the other end with Spurs. Harry Kane
challenge
working
incoming.
his way into the box. Squared up.
Oh, no!
Hey! VAR!
Yes!
It's a pen!
Oh, it was squeaky bum.
VAR's got to look at this, surely.
Squeaky bum time there for a second. Harry Kane is furious.
What's he doing? Is he checking?
Yeah, he's probably going to check.
That doesn't look good.
It's a pen! It's a
soft.
stone wall!
He's gone down and then he's clipped
Harry
in.
Kane,
pretty soft.
this very similar to Lascelles. He's gone into the man again, hasn't he? He knows.
Which
It's a
again,
pen!
I don't...
it's quite
It's a
soft.
pen!
He's stopped and kind of stuck his arse out.
Is he looking at VAR? Is he looking at VAR?
He's got to look
It's
at this.
kind of like last week.
looking
It's a
at
bit
it.
of
Surely.
a...
He's gone down. He's gone down. and he's waiting for
You can't
Listen, what's he doing?
You can't really
played
complain if it gets
Why has
given.
VAR not
but
looked at that?
It's
That should have been a
also...
pen, I think.
Will, do they think
Not
it's a pen in the
I think
comments?
that should have been a pen.
Good question.
But what is
I'm still not
VAR
sure about
for,
the
though?
one from last
That is
week.
for them moments, no?
I think if the referee has a clear sight of it, his
the referee
his
ain't got
opinion.
clear sight.
And it's not a clear and obvious error there because
All this
we're
clear and
literally
obvious
debating
lark.
it.
That's what you. This is VAR. That's what you're using it for them moments in big games.
But we don't want to see them meddle with the football too often, do we? And if the
Oh my
referee,
God.
Yeah, but
What are
it's
the
all
odds
right.
of
In
that
that
working?
moment, it's worth looking at.
Get it to...
Left.
Oh my God, just get it wide. You might as well just get it
Tension's
in
running
there.
high here, and the football is end to end. This is the last.
The quality of football recently has been appalling.
It looked like there was a lull from about 85 to 88, and then in extra time it's just
Oh my
exploded
God.
again. Neither side content with a point here.
I don't know who actually would be happy though. Like, on paper, it's a good point for Spurs, but then to be
Where are you
2-0.
going? Oh my God.
One more chance.
I've got to say, Nicolas Pepe has lost it a couple times in very
important positions.
very
Look at Christian Eriksen.
It's been Spurs' best
Look
player.
at Christian Eriksen.
Go on in. Go on in.
Hit that. Oh!
Yeah, but I'd say he's lost the ball at times when he should be guarding it over kind of
You've got
launching
to know
into the
your
Spurs
players.
counter-attack.
Harry Kane's got to know
Depends
his
where his
players. He's got
instructions
Dele Alli, Eriksen. You're playing it to it. He's a donkey in that area.
I think this is gone.
I mean, honesty is the best policy.
What's the
Yeah.
unit?
Yeah,
Say it,
I'm
say
being
it.
a fan at the minute.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Mkhitaryan,
God. Back
what
foot, he's
a
free.
He's so slow. He's just
Yeah, I'm not-
useless.
Best thing he's done all game.
At no point was Mkhitaryan favourite for that. Sanchez favourite for that ball until about the last 3 steps.
Until he realised it was Mkhitaryan. That's why he put Reece Nelson on, because he's going to give you...
Throw the ball.
95th minute. It's over.
It's over.
What an idiot.
Pure theatre there, gentlemen. What a ride. What a ride. What are the fans saying then? Is that...
It's not what you call good, was it?
That was a great game. Fantastic.
debate,
Yeah, but not like
Football,
good
yeah.
as in like good football. It was a fun game.
The pace was there, you're right. It was very entertaining, it was fun, but there was a kind of lack of wanting on the final ball on occasion. Gentlemen.
Lack of quality in the final third for me. You know,
What, more so with Spurs or both teams?
you know, more so for me, Spurs. They got in good areas. Son got in good areas, and he didn't make things happen. The second half, when we could have nicked it there at the death, really. You know, we've had 3 or 4 good opportunities to get in the right space. You know, Sissoko drops to him. He should do better. Look, we'll take a point. We'll take a point. It's a good point away from home. That goal before, right at the end of the first half kills us. But to go to the Emirates away from home when Arsenal are talking about how good they are, we'll take it.
Look, so when they did score before half time, and there's probably that kind of mentality, or people from the footballing community kind of expect Spurs to fold. Is getting out here with a point, is there any kind of redeeming factor in that you've not lost?
Look, if you said to me before the game that we was going to draw 2-2, I would have took it. You're not going to say no. It's a tough fixture. It's a massive game. We don't normally play very well at the Emirates, so I think we've come.
So pleased with the medal, or disappointed that you've surrendered a lead? Or
Look, at the death, I think we could have nicked it if we were just a bit more ruthless, and I think that's been our problem a little bit this season so far, is that we haven't been ruthless enough in front of the goal. We could have won that game, but Arsenal kept going, and they looked all right. But the whole thing of Arsenal saying that they're going to slaughter us and they're going to smash us to the top 4 this season, that showing for me that they're still a long way away.
do you agree with that, Dave?
I think if we'd have had a different wide player than Mkhitaryan, we would have created a lot more very, very good chances. There were so many opportunities, particularly down the left, because we were getting the whole time against Sanchez, and Mkhitaryan would just slow the ball down or not have that final pass. I think I'm quite happy with the point now, considering we were 2-0 down. As you said, that goal just before half-time is massive. That's absolutely massive goal, that is. There was moments in the game where it looked like we probably should have gone on and got the third, but then also we looked very vulnerable at the back. So looking at the whole game, a point I would say is probably about fair.
Okay.
And we've gone international break now. We've got a nice little run now. Where I know we've got United in a couple of weeks, but other than that, right.
So coming from behind, good for Arsenal's mentality, Pat, or the fact that you conceded 2 early-ish goals still cause for concern?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't think it was particularly Spurs being good today. I thought Arsenal were just bad. Like, the first half, they got a couple of goals because Arsenal were bad, and they're bad at the back, and they've been bad at the back for a while. However, when you look at Spurs are the 3rd best team in the Premier League, and so they're the team that Arsenal have got to try and aim for, right? You think Arsenal are probably favourites for 4th place this season, and so you'd hope that they could kind of catch up with Spurs. And when you look at the last 3 North London derbies, Arsenal were really dominant in the 2 last year, and in this one, at worst, it was probably even. So that's been an improvement, certainly. Under Emery, whatever else you can say about him, Arsenal have been better in this particular fixture.
Have you narrowed the gap to Tottenham this season, do you think?
Well, it depends.
Small steps?
Kind of depends how good, say, Tierney is. If Tierney's really, really good, then yeah, we'll probably narrow the gap a bit. But Spurs have made really good signings. I mean, I don't think we're going to overhaul Spurs like this season and probably not even next season. But we've been better than them in at least 2 of the 3 last North London derbies, and that's kind of nice to have bragging rights at least.
But you just got to extend that to
we were just falling so far behind
season,
in the years before that. We were getting battered. So, I don't know. It's all right. There are signs of progress, but the defence is still woeful.
And I suppose maybe a silver lining that where you need to improve is so obvious, right? And
we've got guys
and you've got those players coming back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's have a look at the table and how this game impacts the table. Talking of teams at the top. Again, Liverpool, Manchester City, Leicester unmoved. Even Crystal Palace at this point, but 7 points from 4 games for Arsenal leaves them in 5th place, and Tottenham, that point moves them up 2 spots to 9th. Quick look at the bottom then. And if you weren't with us earlier, obviously it's kind of business as usual at the bottom of the table. Watford, Norwich and Aston Villa. Surprising that Norwich are in 19th, given that they've played relatively well at the start of the season. They might feel a little bit hard done by. Aston Villa probably deservedly so in 18th at the moment. Wolves making a slow start. A lot of people tipping them to break into the top 6, 7, but 3 draws and a loss today to Everton sees them lying near the bottom. Chelsea moving to 11th after Tottenham getting that point. Let's go to William for some fan questions, because they've been pouring in apparently, mate.
I mean, it's been such a frenetic game that we've got loads stacking up, but obviously full-time whistle has gone. Some bad performances, but some good performances. Jamie, who was your man of the match out there?
For Tottenham or for the whole game?
Well, to start with Tottenham, who was the standout performance for you there?
I would have to say Christian Eriksen.
Yeah.
I think he made things happen. He made us tick, got the goal. I think for me he was a standout performer but the best player on the pitch for me was Guendouzi.
Agreed.
He was good on the ball. He created their second goal. Second half, he was like a one-man team. He for such a young player, he is a leader on a football pitch, and he's probably one player that I would love to have at Tottenham.
Yeah. A lot of people speaking about the tactical changes as well, and one that was enforced for Emery was that one to put Aubameyang down the middle, and you spoke about how big was that? It
was huge. It changed the game. As I said, I think it was a blessing in disguise, to be honest. Lacazette scored a fantastic goal. He was, a brilliant goal. But Aubameyang is not a left winger. He's not an inside forward. He's a centre forward.
Yeah.
He needs to play down the centre of the pitch, and I don't know how they're going to get that right in terms of playing Lacazette and Aubameyang. But for me, he's got to be down the centre of the pitch, because that's where he's most effective. Whether they play him as they play a 4-4-1-1 with Aubameyang just behind Lacazette, but I just think they need to get him down the middle of the park, because he's just so more effective in that area.
With the changes to come, obviously the next time that the derby takes place, we could have the full-backs back for Arsenal, the new signings bedded in a bit more. Who do you think's got the strongest setup there out of Tottenham and Arsenal?
Look, Kolasinac actually played well for me. I thought he looked good. I thought he actually had a good game. Tierney will come in and obviously improve them. I think once we get Dele Alli properly fit, he's going to be, he needs a big season. But you can see at the back at Arsenal, there's always that, they've always got that rick in them where you think we can get at them, we can hurt them. I think that's a good point for us. We'll take it back to Spurs and, at home we'll be favourites. But we haven't really started yet, Tottenham, I don't think. It was a good performance today, but I still think we're lacking that real bite that we had last season. And, it's a bit of a cause for concern, because, we lose at home to Newcastle, get a point at the Emirates, but we need to really start, kicking on a little bit, because otherwise we'll start drifting.
Yeah, Poch did say that everything will be better after the window, didn't he? Do you agree? Is that, being part of that process, how kind of detrimental can that be to the team and to the camp when there's talk and chatter of them leaving?
Well, the problem is the whole thing for me is pathetic, that our window's shut, but Europe can still take our players. I don't get it. I'm not. I know obviously we've tried to get everyone on board of what we're doing, and they've just said no. But it must be really frustrating for a manager at the top level when you've got top players who big clubs want, that you can't replace that player. So Eriksen really probably wanted to leave, but can't leave now because Poch is like, I can't replace you, so I need to keep you.
He was quite vocal, wasn't he, about leaving, which was surprising because that's not something you really associate with Christian Eriksen.
Yeah.
When you saw those comments about seeking a new challenge, were you a bit surprised?
Not really, because obviously he probably would have looked at it and he's been a standout performer for us and probably thought there was a big club, you know, there was talk of Real Madrid and, you know, some big teams that wanted him. So, you know, he probably thought that that might have materialised. It hasn't materialised. And then Poch is like, look, we need him, we need to keep him. And, you know, it's important now that we get that out of the way and we can, you know, and we can push on with the squad that we've got.
Well, Will was asking you about the England setup earlier, and we've actually got the squad on screen right now. So let's get everyone's thoughts on this. Pato, can you give us your objective opinion on that team, given that you're not an England fan? What are you saying about some of the squad selection? Because there's been a little bit of, not controversy, that might be a bit strong, but some eyebrows raised with various inclusions, particularly in the midfield. So what do you make of kind of the strength and depth and Southgate's, you know, choice with some of the younger talent there?
I think the midfield looks the weak of the kind of three, I guess. You know, leaving aside the goalkeepers. Like, I'm still not really sure why Barkley's getting in there. Yeah, it just looks a little bit thin on the ground to me, whereas the forward line is very, very strong. Though I wouldn't really class Lingard as a forward. I'm glad that Wan-Bissaka's got a call up. He's clearly deserved it. But at the same time, putting three right backs in seems a bit excessive. Unless he wants to try Alexander-Arnold in central midfield, which has been done.
Well, he also said to Kyle Walker, Southgate, in an interview that you're still my number one despite not being included in the squad. So England have strength and depth in that position. With Wan-Bissaka and Kyle Walker, if they're in the same squad, who do you opt for?
It depends. I'd go for... My choice would always be between Alexander-Arnold and Wan-Bissaka. Alexander-Arnold, if you're playing a smaller side where you expect to have the majority of the ball and you need a more attacking...
You wouldn't have Kyle Walker in your team?
I'd have him in the squad, but I wouldn't start him in the team, no. Like,
so you would have him behind Alexander-Arnold and Wan-Bissaka?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Like he, I think he could be interesting on the right of a back three if you wanted to play a back three, which obviously they have done. But Man City seem to be moving on from him as a right back as well. Obviously, they brought in Cancelo, and it looks like he's going to play centre-back minutes this season. That's certainly what Pep said.
And that started with Southgate at the World Cup, didn't it, converting him into sort of that outside centre-half. Is that where you would play him? And I suppose it's going to be dictated by what formation that England play. But if you say they continue the formation they played at the World Cup, do you still play Kyle Walker as a central defender, or do you put him back out on the right?
No, I think he's in competition with Alexander-Arnold. I think he's better than... I think Wan-Bissaka is the future, but for me, Kyle Walker still offers so much for England in terms of being a fullback with pace. He's good on the ball. He's playing in the best team in the world at the minute. And yeah, I was shocked to see him not in that team, to be honest. I just think he's still got a lot to offer. And I think, I just think Gareth Southgate will probably have a look at a couple and see what he thinks, and then he'll bring Walker back in, because he's still a huge player for England.
Yeah, I mean, what Southgate wants to do with this side, but that would suggest that maybe he's going to move on from three at the back by not including Kyle Walker.
I thought it sounded like it was just like a rest.
There's no Stones either, is there?
As opposed to, well, he's still injured, I think.
Maybe a combination of rest and sort of experimentation.
But it sounded like that he wasn't saying to Kyle Walker, like, I'm not going to call you up anymore. It was like, Kyle Walker needing a rest, you're not going to play in this.
But still, if you're a player who's been a firm fixture in a national team setup for 4 or 5 years, you don't want to be included, surely.
No, you don't want to be left out, you know, and he'll be looking at that and, you know, he'll be thinking, oh, you know, you're kind of palming me off here saying, oh, yeah, I'm giving you a rest, but I'm going to look at Wan-Bissaka, who's playing for Man United, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's playing for Liverpool, you know. So for me, I don't think Kyle Walker will be happy that unless he's had a private conversation and maybe he does need a rest. But, you know, he's a complete athlete, Kyle Walker. You know, he don't need much rest.
The main one, James Maddison, if he can hit the ground running in that England squad, obviously we saw Dele get minutes at the end, but if Maddison can hit the ground running, especially that, creative midfield out front of the three there, like Lingard's not really had a good start to the season. If he can smash that like he's been doing for Leicester, be very exciting.
For years, people wanted Joe Cole to kind of fulfil that role, didn't they? And now England kind of have a gluttony of talent up front. Would you start James Maddison?
I would start Maddison. Yeah, I think he's been really good in the Premier League, and he's playing at the top of his game. And a lot of people talk really highly of him. So when you get other top players saying how good he is, then that means he's a top player. When I look at our midfield, I'm not convinced that it's a real powerful. It looks a bit light. We're missing we're missing a Scholes, we're missing a Gerrard. We've got good players there who are good on the ball and look good. They're young and vibrant, but we're missing that real leader, I think, in that midfield.
Just before we wrap up proceedings then, Davo, what are your thoughts on the England setup? Because you're a passionate England fan.
I looked at midfield. I know you players like Dele Alli have got to come back into it, but the midfield that was on screen there, that's not good enough to win a major trophy, I don't believe. I'm hoping someone like James Manners is going to have a fantastic season. I think there's a lot of pressure on Jordan Henderson there. Obviously, Champions League winning captain, who probably this time last year you wouldn't have said he's actually in the England's team. You're in the squad, but maybe not the team. So it's going to be. I know. Is it against the Kosovo and as another? It's not. Yeah. They're not like a major European kind of like nation. But we still have to go there and win. And I think there's a lot of reliance on our strikers. And then that Jordan Henderson working with these younger players to kind of get like the most out of them.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. That is all for this week. We are back on the 14th.
As you can see on screen right now. It returns after the international break, and we're back on Soccer AM and Football Daily's social channels. Gentlemen, thank you very much. It's an odd note to end on. Who is really satisfied? Yeah, because I'm not getting a lot of positive energy from anyone. But it's a point in the bag for both sides. That's all from us. Again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please hit that button below. Leave a comment on our social pages, and we'll see you on the 14th. Oh, hello.
Oh,
yes!
No! Get in!
Oh, Eriksen!
What's going on, mate? They're all over them, Harry.
Go on, you're in.
Son,
go on, you're in.
It's a penalty, ref.
He's giving it.
Yes! He's giving it.
Yeah,
Atkinson has given it. It's all going wrong for Spurs, for Arsenal, at home.
And then Harry Kane steps up. Quite short run up. Very good at penalties, isn't he?
Yes!
2-0 to Tottenham in the North London derby after 40 minutes. The pressure from Arsenal. At least there's an intensity there.
Oh, what a touch!
Yeah! Get him! We have a game, ladies and gentlemen. We have a game.
That is a sensational goal.
What a goal that is!
You wouldn't do that.
So you're not deploying that at Billericay, no?
Nah. I mean, we ain't got the players. We're just, edit, kick it, lump it, Keep it simple. 1-1. Got it.
Down. Do something!
This referee is a top form, mate. Star man.
What an unlikely goal! Aubameyang getting onto the end of the ball from Guendouzi, was it there?
Let's go for the win now, boys!
Come on! Oh, no. Hold on, Dave, hold on. Oh, God, get the camera on him!
It's a pen!
Oh, it was squeaky bum.
VAR's got to look at this, surely.
Squeaky bum time there for a second. Harry Kane is furious.